you doing? Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. We are meant to have a special guest this week because Russ is out. He went partying, I think, in Ibiza. I don't know. I wasn't listening. He went somewhere. He's doing something that's not this. Unfortunately, our special guest is late. Imagine being late. I don't know how they run it over there on SDLF, but around here we like to be on time. Ooh. Hey, all things Dynasty. Drop any questions, comments, or perspectives into whatever chat box and whatever streaming service you're watching us on. I hope you're watching us on. We'll happily talk about it at length, democratically, one by one. As the comments roll in, that's the order we roll through them. I'm sorry, sometimes we run 45 minutes behind in the chat, but we do get there. And if we don't, if your question comes in after our 3 hours of talking, post it on the comments, and I will happily come and by and offer an opinion on the YouTube videos or the Twitch video or wherever you happen to ask your questions. So yeah, we get to it all kind of eventually. Yeah, week 1 and 2. How's it going for you? I will say, Terry Pratchett in the Rincewood series wrote to Lord Vinatieri that what people mostly want is tomorrow to be roughly like it was today. And she said it better than that. He was a writer. And I find that in the fantasy football world as well. We've got to see a podcast and streaming shows right now and basically saying things are concerning or things are not concerning, but we're not ready to make decisions yet. That might be something we do better because we are literally looking to make as rash a decision as possible as early as possible in Dynasty. So let's do that. Zach.
Hey, Pete. How's it going?
How you doing, man?
Not too bad.
Good.
Russ is at My Chemical Romance. He's at a concert tonight. So
kind of rock band the youth listen to. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the youth when I was a youth, yes.
That's young for me. No, that's cool. Whatever. Important life stuff, I guess, matters more. I don't know. But I'm happy to be here once again. So. Yeah, how's your week going? I have several rebuilding teams currently pummeling the league, and that is upsetting. Like Joe Flacco just murdering folks out here, and I'm like, I'm trying to lose, Joe. Could you settle it down a little bit? You know?
Yeah, I get
I put up 170 points this week in a league where I'm meant to be the worst team, and I am the worst team in the league. I'm like, come on, Joe, settle down.
I get the 40-point Flacco this week too in a league. I also the league that Kyle was making fun of me for last week when I was tanking and ended up scoring the second most points in the league. This week I plummeted back to earth because I played J Mike's team, and J Mike's team put the dream. He quashed that very quickly. Any idea that I had that I could have a competitive team. So
J Mike has a way of killing your dreams. That's what I've always said. Yeah. J Mike, the dream killer.
He has a lot of teams that have Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen.
It's weird.
That's not fair.
Weird. It's a weird strategy. Why would you? No, I honestly think I'm not rostering Lamar Jackson and Jalen Waddle and Stephon Diggs in a few places, and I'm like, I should probably be kicked out. That shouldn't be legal. That shouldn't be allowed. Jake, he was in here, by the way, at 5 minutes to 7. So appreciate the grind, Jake. I really appreciate being here so early, and that I'm sorry we're getting into it so late. And he traded AJ Dillon plus a second and a third for DK Metcalf and a first. Thoughts? 23 first.
I like that. I'd take Metcalf in a first.
Yeah, I think Metcalf's still actually getting volume. He's underperforming it because our offense is just ass.
Well,
but yeah, Metcalf's a decent buy low. I don't expect that offense to turn around by the end of the season. DK's probably going to put up a game. But yeah, it's just a buy low, and you're getting a first with it, which is awesome. AJ Dillon's going to be decent this year, though.
Yeah, and I think Dillon is one of those players that we talked about as being a buy, but
yeah, he is right now because Aaron Jones' big day. That sounds like a movie title, but yeah. Aaron Jones'
it sounds like a children's book. Aaron Jones and his big day.
No, I love Aaron Jones, and the Packers always run something of a split, but Aaron Jones has got like the volume over Aaron. AJ Dillon's got the volume over Aaron Jones. I was just writing it up, and I'm sad because Aaron Jones is amazing, but
right.
Yeah, he should finish the season at least as a top 15 running back as things keep going as they are. But you were saying,
no, I was just saying like Metcalf is one of those. It's the old the AJ Brown corollary where you bet on talent. You're not betting on situation, and because situation changes, it's so fluid. And DK Metcalf is good. Like DK Metcalf is not in that top tier of receivers for me, but he's in that next tier of receivers. Like he's a guy who can be a top 12 wide receiver any given season, and he'll be right in that 8 to 16 range pretty consistently. Assuming that Seattle gets themselves together and finds a quarterback heading into next year, which
no, Karen. I agree. Yeah. Jake also wants to know Pat Freiermuth or Kyle Pitts this week. Ranks and my projection model actually put them back to back. I'm not starting Kyle Pitts until I see his usage change at this point, so I start Pat Freiermuth. He's getting the volume. I was really worried about his yards last week. He saved it with a touchdown, but he's still getting the target. So I'd rather the usage over maybe the usage will change. So I start Pat Freiermuth this week at least. Frank, gentlemen, happy Wednesday. Was offered Pitts and Kareem. A lot of Pitts trades. Wonder why that is. Pitts and Kareem Hunt for Muth, Gibson, and 223 first. Yeah, I think the value's on the first side at this point.
Yep, and I think we're gonna
easily.
I'm sure I'm sure we're gonna talk about Pitts at some point today. I saw that it was in the show title, the show notes that.
I mean,
but
I didn't know what else to title it.
No, it's the cool thing about Pitts from the time that people started watching him on film 2 years ago in like January, and even before that, because there were Devy guys talking about him. But up until the past 2 weeks it didn't matter if Kyle Pitts produced or didn't, because everybody else was expecting him to produce. Kyle Pitts is the 2023 firsts of tight end. Like that's like he is like the 23 class right now. It doesn't matter if the 23 class is good because everyone thinks they're good, so the value is there. It was that way with Pitts. I did a whole episode after I did an episode where I said I don't want to draft tight ends in the first round of rookie drafts. I did a whole episode on you should draft Kyle Pitts in the first round of rookie drafts, and this is why, because everybody else is on board. And
this is one of our core, not disagreements, but it's something we come up against a lot. Like, I understand the logic, and that makes sense to me. But I know as a player, it's better to be the last man in than the last man out. And I have consistently found myself in a position where I'm the last man out on this kind of option. Like, it's same with Trey Lance. Like, he's not done. Like, he should still carry value. I really hope he recovers well from that injury. And we don't know yet. He still remains a mystery. But he was a similar bet on the upside, and the fact that everyone likes him, so he carries value. He carries value because he carries value. And I completely understand that. But if I see anything like an actual result when it comes to PPR points or targets or something that I can really sink my teeth into and believe, I will always take that. I know this about this player over the mystery. And while I agree for trading for the value, managing my risk, I will stay away from putting myself into a place to be the last man out. Now, right now, and I'm getting questions right now, is Kyle Pitts bad? Never clear. I don't know. I'm a nerd. I don't grind tape. I don't even know what talent is. Look at me. How would I? But what I do know is that Kyle Pitts is probably very, very talented given his rookie season and given all the hype. It comes from someone. But unless his usage changes, not much is going to change. Evan Ingram, same thing. He's probably actually still talented, and we saw a decent PPR week from him this year, just as if to highlight the point. that's the stuff I can't predict. What I can do is sink my teeth into what the actual result is, which is why Trey Lance is always and remains a mystery to me right now. Like, I don't do a lot of quarterback evaluation. I don't want to elevate Tua right now into my top 12. I normally need to see it once or twice because I don't have a strong evaluation for that position. But if with tight end, I have things I can sink my teeth into, and there was enough on Kyle Pitts that I was begrudgingly saying yes, but where so much of it was value and not enough of it was he's Gronk, essentially. That's what he had to be. Anyway, I think it's interesting. I don't want to be the last man out.
No, but you and I, for Frank's purposes, Peter and I are on the same page. I want the Freiermuth, Gibson.
This is a walk-away win last week, to be honest with you. Unbiased or not, this was a walk-away win last week. That's what I kept thinking about. Me and you were talking about this in our DM chat on Twitter. We talk to each other, believe it or not.
It's weird.
I swear. But that's what I mean about being the last man out. It's great to trade for Pitts because he has so much value, but a lot of people were saying us trades showing they want to get out on his value. And it's always good to trade for Pitts, but it's because you can use it to get so much more. And so a trade like this, you're already getting it. Like, I think Pitts is being valued here what he was worth last week. And so you take what you can. That's why he has value. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to point out one more thing, Jake. And the reason it's conflicted in my projection model is because DraftKings and 4for4, DraftKings and Fantasy Pros, both two entities who rank more commonly on hype and their preconceived perceptions, have him over Pat Freiermuth. Me and people like John Paulson over the 4for4 have Pitts significantly lower than Freiermuth. So those are accurately trying to project rather than trying to weigh into what they personally think of players, say that Pat Freiermuth is a stronger play this week. So I wanted to point that out before I got too far in the weeds there. It's like CeeDee Lamb's the same problem this year, but with CeeDee Lamb, I have the volume. It's like I wrote it up this week as well. Like, if anyone hasn't gotten on to the fact that every person who told you that CeeDee Lamb was a bad bet this year, the tape and T-level, has already been destroyed. If they don't know that yet, it is a great opportunity to trade for CeeDee Lamb because his points haven't been top 12 yet. But the whole argument was 19% target share, even though that's the average of breakouts, by the way. And he's already destroyed that. He's already getting a 30% target share. He's getting 20 expected points a game. He doesn't have to be efficient, and he should be a top 12 wide receiver by the end of the season. So if they haven't realized that and they're leaning into I got this one right, then it's a great time to buy CeeDee Lamb. But I have the volume. With Pitts, it's not been there. The system just isn't using them. Right or wrong, it's better to project efficiency changing than volume changing. And so Pitts is probably talented. It's probably a buy low, but if this is the type of value you're getting for him, I'm strongly out.
No, you skipped that. You skipped Salzburg.
I did.
Go back. Yeah, we didn't get to that one.
I'm yammering on.
I'll keep you honest.
Shut up. I apologize. Salzburg, 12-team, half-point PPR, non-tight end premium, start 9. He needs help at tight end. Who doesn't, buddy? Me. Currently have commit Njoku. You need a lot of help. And that Njoku hype. Yeah, never follow the money. That's my advice. He's thinking of sending Antonio Gibson, I imagine, and receiving Hawkinson. My other running backs are Barkley, Hunt, Madison, and Darrell Williams. I always assume Dynasty, by the way, unless it's otherwise specified here. Right. I think I want Gibson. I think Gibson and a crappy tight end is better than Hawkinson and a crappy running back 3. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Crappy running back 3. 4.
Yeah, if you throw Gibson, Barkley, and Hunt, your running back core is pretty good. Yeah. If you're throwing Barkley, Hunt, and a backup running back with Hawkinson, who currently Salzburg, I don't know if you know this, has 13 points so far on the season in PPR. 13. Right. And again, this is not that Hawkinson will end up being a top 12 tight end, whatever, but we don't care about top 12 tight ends. Figure out, there are going to be guys on your waiver wire. There are going to be cheaper guys that you can go get. send somebody some one of your something for Gerald Everett, who nobody believes in because he's small and like that sort of thing, or even Evan Ingram. Like that's like, let's do that. I'd rather do that. Logan Thomas. I'd rather throw less capital at a lesser tight end that will fill
That's
in
what
that
I'm going
spot.
to. I think Hawkinson's going to bounce back up, to be clear. He's on the low list this week. He's getting fine volume. He's a top 12 tight end. He's talented as well. And big. So big. But if it's not one of those top tight ends, and I'm mostly looking for something cheaper. This is fine, by the way. This is a fine trade. If you like it, it's your team. But I think he can do a little better and keep Gibson. Random one, Hayden Hurst. He's getting about the same expected opportunity per game and will cost you, a lot less than Gibson, I think. Like send a third for Hayden Hurst. I don't believe in him as well, but that's also why he's cheaper. He's getting a similar level of opportunity and underproducing it by a similar amount. Both should bounce up if it keeps going. Evan Ingram. He's slightly less. I have slightly lower expectations for Evan Ingram, but he's more usable than what you have right now and will probably cost you less than Gibson. Anyone else really stick out? Yeah, Gerald Everett's a great one. If you can get someone who's already performing in the top 12 and no one wants, that's awesome. So Gerald Everett is a good one, but I was kind of looking for those that kind of lower. Albert he's getting like 9.8 expected points per game, underperforming it a bit. But I don't know about you. I kind of don't want in on that Denver. Kyle Pitts is actually underproducing, by the way. He could do a little better, but just outside the top 12. So no. Hawkinson and honestly, Hayden Hurst should probably be expected to do a little bit more. But yeah, I go for Hawkinson and got it if anyone doesn't believe in that. Slightly lower. But yeah, I will go for one of those guys for less than Gibson. Yeah, that's me. What do you think, Cal?
Hey, there he is. He's on mute though.
That's awesome, Cal. Keep talking.
You probably did that to me. No.
This is the most I've ever agreed with you right now.
I learned that my setup takes entirely too long and unnecessarily so, probably. So I need to get better at that. But I appreciate you guys having me on. A really good Kyle Pitts talk I was listening to right there. You guys nailed it. Love it.
What do you think of Tyler Higbee, by the way? I know we've had our Tyler Higbee fight a couple years ago. I don't believe that the role is consistent, but so far through 2 weeks, he's got like 17.8 expected points per game. He's underperforming it a little bit, but
I mean, I guess that's
anyone want to go back in on the post-hype sleeper? No, me neither. I'm just saying.
No, I think you're eventually going to see more targets funneled toward Allen Robinson.
I think that's
so.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
I actually, while you're here, we're just talking about Kyle Pitts. Surprise, surprise, Cal. Why would anyone talk about Kyle Pitts? There's nothing to discuss. But I did read your box score breakdown thread on Twitter. I thought it was pretty fun, pretty good read. You should definitely keep that up. You said you hadn't done it for a while. I thought it was really informative. You said under Kyle Pitts, expect a change. Thoughts?
So one, Atlanta's 0-2, and Arthur Smith said, "I don't care about fantasy football." Okay, well, real life football, you need wins too.
Probably care about winning, right?
Do that, yeah. And so. It was a really good breakdown that I listened to. It was actually on the Bill Simmons podcast. And I don't remember who his guest was. I can't remember, but anybody listening that can credit it, great. But it was a good breakdown. Somebody that does like fantasy gambling for him. And we're talking about comments from Arthur Smith about usage and certain alignments and the way they were almost treating Kyle Pitts like a little bit of a luxury early on. And then like listening to certain comments and expecting that they will begin to go through the process of getting him to where he's not a luxury and he is more of that primary, letting him be who he is. I don't know why you would ever treat him like just a luxury. That seems really dumb to me to begin with. So can we assume
that's the thing? Like, I hate all of this. Like that all makes sense, which is the frustrating part because it all makes sense and it makes sense so many times and then never like I want. And it happened here. If you know what I mean, that's always what I'm looking for. This happened for this player here and here. Like Isaiah Likely right now is getting, if that guy who's asking for tight ends, if you're in Dynasty, I think Isaiah Likely volume and he's
you
young.
saw
and a
another 5
rookie.
targets this week. Yeah.
There's value upside there too. But Pitt should bounce back, but it's at this point, the team has to make a change, and I hate predicting that. Like,
it's
normally
assuming
they
rational
don't.
coaching when the coaching
Yes.
has been the issue, right? It's
Yeah.
that's what makes it hard.
Like, again, all of that makes sense, but it made sense 2 weeks ago. Like, if they wanted to do it, you would have thought anyway. But that's very rational. I can say that. I definitely hope for it. Yeah.
And Peter, we talked a little bit in that DM today, and that move tight end, that not traditional inline blocker tight end, is a really weird archetype in the NFL. Like, going back as far as I can think, Jimmy Graham and like
is the only one?
A year and a half of Aaron Hernandez. Those are about the only like really uber successful of that archetype. And then everybody else is an inline blocker who can catch the ball.
Everyone forgets Jordan Reed, man. Stop it.
Jordan Reed. I forgot about Jordan Reed. That's right. He did have 2 or 3 years where he was just an absolute monster. But
I did destroy a lot of my dynasty teams. Appreciate it. I got Andrew Luck and Jordan Reed. It was fun.
but the archetype is the Kelsey, the Andrews, the Gronk, the big, like the blocking, because they're in on every play, so they can get targeted every play, and they also get these little stupid slip screen, like make a chip block and then turn around and catch the ball. And they're also like, if I'm scheming against Kyle Pitts, I'm covering Kyle Pitts with a corner who can cover a wide receiver, because Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver. So getting the mismatch on Pitts is going to be a little bit more difficult than it is if you've got an inline tight end. So again, all these, it's not to say Kyle Pitts is bad. It's not to say that this is the end for Kyle Pitts, but it's just like we got so far, and we do this in Dynasty so bad. We do this with quarterbacks more often, but tight ends also, where we'll just run it out to the nth degree. We'll say, okay, this guy's it was Wentz. 4 years ago, Wentz, or 3 years ago, Wentz was the quarterback 1.
I used to have a rule. Anytime a quarterback gets in the top 5 in Dynasty in DLF ranks and hasn't finished there, trade him. And it works so well.
Well, and so the only, I said this to you, the only team I drafted Kyle Pitts with, the only team I had a high enough pick to take Kyle Pitts, I turned around and traded him. This was like before his rookie year, for Andrews and a 23 first. And I'm happy with that. I'm getting the points for Andrews, and I've got a 23 first. And that's not to say whoever got Kyle Pitts is not going to be happy with that.
Eventually, yeah.
But I don't want eventually. I want to win now.
That's the thing. You have to expect a change. We said I'm trying my damnedest all season not to make Evan Ingram comparisons.
So
but
what would
this is all stuff we said.
Okay, that's good. Evan Ingram. So I was going to ask you is like, what would be more odd for him? Would it be more strange after his rookie year for Kyle Pitts not to hit, or would it be more strange for him to hit now that we've seen his usage in his first 2 weeks?
It would be weird for him not to hit. That's why I was begrudgingly like, yeah, okay, because he's young, he's a tight end, had 1,000 yards. Evan Ingram had 700 yards his first year, but he caught touchdowns. So
right,
but then forgot to catch, and Kyle Pitts has forgotten how to be schemed, apparently, or whatever that is. And it's just just give me the targets. I'll take Fairmouth. That's what I did last year, and I'm kind of doing the same this year. But his yards weren't there last week. That scares the crap out of me, because I'm way too far into Pat Fairmouth to have him just be a touchdown guy with targets, but no, like, what the? Anyway. We're ignoring the chat. We shouldn't. Order 66. 12-team Superflex tight end premium. Start 10. He's got Lance, Ayuk, and a 23 first or Burrow. Ooh. Burrow's kind of overvalued, but Lance has been overvalued consistently for a while now. Ayuk, I think, is pretty decent. He's, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo back in, he's probably going to be a top 24 wide receiver. And you're getting a first. I don't hate this trade on either side.
Yeah.
This is where we need win now, win later trade.
Yeah, this is where we need the interactive part of the chat and not to be what are we, an hour and a half behind because this was in the chat at 8:30 before an hour before the show.
Yeah, I think
because
I take the Lance side, assuming I can trade him before next season, because it's not that I don't think he can. It's just that I think his value will bounce back up in this offseason, and then you win this trade hands down. But if I'm winning this year, I got no reason to get rid of Burrow. But
that's the context that matters.
Could you not, like, if you offered the same deal to the Jalen Hurts owner, would you not prefer that?
Hands down, I just don't think he'd take it, right?
I
wouldn't have Ayuk for a start.
There. I don't feel like I'd start with Burrow. And I know like it's been rough to start the year, and he's probably better days ahead. But he was touchdown. Sorry, Cal, carry on. No, yeah, go ahead. Touchdown regression, 100%. I think you're right.
That's it. You said it.
Yep.
I don't expect Mahomes, Hurts, even or Allen numbers from him. I expected kind of what we're getting. So, leading into my bias a little bit. Kyler Murray's great too, yeah. Mm-hmm. I had him under Murray as well. Like, I like Burrow. He's great. He's young. He's a lot of fun. And will be for like 20 years. So there's no reason not to like him, don't get me wrong. He's a nice, friendly sailing vessel, whereas Lance is maybe a nice, friendly sailing vessel. No, just silence? Okay, cool.
Oh, we're admiring your boat, Peter.
I don't. That's how things work around here, Cal. I say stupid shit. You all have to correct me so no one else does the wrong thing. Like, that's it. I overreact. You're meant to reel me back in so the chat can find the middle and act accordingly, okay?
Look, that's my favorite part. I am, first and foremost, a fan of this show. I'm often in the chat. I love listening to it. I'm doing work a lot of times on Wednesdays, and I like listening to it. It's good. You guys do a great job.
I appreciate you, man. But still refusing to be baited into comment. Got it. I'm thinking the Lance side. Honestly, even if I'm winning, if I have another quarterback, I'm probably taking the Lance side.
Well, that's the thing, because it's super flex. So, yes, if you need to go get a quarterback because you have a competitive team right now, I'll give that up. But you really want the Lance Ayuk in the first.
But to Cal's point, if you can get better trades, get better trades. If you can get Hurts instead of Lance, and who would you replace Ayuk with in that case? Because they're not going to have Ayuk on that other team. What kind of wide receiver has Ayuk written over it with that kind of value right now? I can't think of one off the top of my head. He's kind of less than a first right now,
right.
With top 24 upside and young, and all the tea when he goes off. Maybe Elijah Moore. People probably don't like him now. They like Wilson.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's a nice call.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of wide receiver if you're going for a hurt, look at their roster, see if they have another wide receiver. But even if this was Hurts and a first for Burrow, because he can probably get that off, that's probably still a good trade.
Oh, see, I was saying if you had Lance Ayuk in first and you wanted a quarterback to replace
Don't
Lance,
go after Burrow.
Instead of Burrow, go after Hurts.
Go after Hurts. Oh, you see,
Murray, or one of those guys.
See, there you go. You're getting it. Fix the stupid stuff I say. That's
the only thing. And again, we're not worried about it because he just came off a great week. But there have been rumblings in Philadelphia since Hurts was drafted. Does that just in the back of your mind? I know, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm good. I like Jalen Hurts when he came out. But there's that
I don't think he's Bortles though. Don't you think Philadelphia?
No, he's good. No,
pretty happy with how well they've done with. It's not like Cal was saying about Atlanta. Like, they're doing well. It's not like it's not like we're getting points and they're not winning. You know what I mean?
It's interesting too to me to see what they've done. They've kind of done the Josh Allen thing around Hurts, where you got a quarterback who was a running quarterback, and then they were like, well, we're going to draft Devontae Smith, and we're going to go trade for AJ Brown, and we've already got Goddard, so we're going to put a core of receiving weapons around him and give him every opportunity to succeed. So I do like that portion of it.
Here's the not to get us so sidetracked. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, it's all right. We like being
I
out
love
in the
the
weeds.
discussion. So here's the thing. People talk about him, Jalen Hurts being a good fantasy quarterback and not a good real life quarterback. I just push back on that. And anybody who's listened to this, who's heard this, I'm so sorry. But like, I look at last year, they were top 5 in third down conversion and top 10 in red zone conversion. And if I'm a coach, what I want out of a quarterback, get me a third down conversion and score when you're in the red zone.
Yep.
And the offense did that last year at a high level. They're number 2 in the NFL right now in third down conversions, and they're number 9 in red zone touchdown percentage. And as long as that's true, why would you ask for another quarterback? What else do you want? I mean,
you've got lots of other things you can get with those shiny draft picks. It's not the only need.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Randy Wyatt, how worried about Matt Ryan and the Colts are you guys? I mean, it's hard to be worried. We didn't have a lot of high expectations. I thought there might be some underrated upside there. Matt Ryan's been fantastic. The Colts are a well-managed franchise. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's there. So I'm pretty worried in that context. Like, it's going to kill my Scott Fishbowl team because I drafted both Wilson and Ryan. Not doing well so far this year, guys. But so yeah, I mean, he's not the vet quarterback you were looking for, I don't think, so far.
No, but I also think they faced a team with a really good pass rush without his number 1 receiving option. So those two things, like, you're worried about Matt Ryan being like he's not the sneaky top 12 option that everyone was kind of billing him as, or some people were billing him as, but he'll be fine. He's going to give you games. I started him in the Scott Fishbowl this week, and if I had started either of my kickers in that super flex spot instead of Matt Ryan, I would have won by 25, and I lost by less than a point. I lost by 0.98.
Speaking of which, I took Matt Ryan out of Scott Fishbowl because that defense last week really crushed hopes, and I was like, just switch him out. I've got a spare Mariota who could score me like 0, but it was better than the -10 that Matt Ryan put up. And I thought I was dead. I'm out week 2, and then Stephon Diggs came in on Monday night, and I won. I'm like, I can't keep this up. But this was a fun week. I won by like 1 point. So Matt Ryan would have made the difference. So.
They do have KC this week. They might be chasing some points. We'll see. But like, I'm a little worried, not just about Matt Ryan, but Frank Reich, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because Carson Wentz leaves there and looks really good. And at some point, the questions are going to start to come there as far as his ability to put an offense and like support a quarterback in that way. Because right now, it just doesn't look good.
How can you not look good with Curtis Samuel on the field?
Yes.
I think the interesting part of this question that I missed is Doolan or Dortch. I think it's worth noting that Marcus Brown should bounce back up. He's getting all the volume and all the opportunity there, and he's pretty good. I think they're just having a rough start to the season. I would love for the great Dortch love to continue, but I don't think it is. Both of these guys were like lower drafted prospects I liked at certain points, so I'm kind of conflicted, but Pittman's going to Pittman Doolan. And that's going to be a thing after this year. And Dortch is living on efficiency. He's getting fine volume. He's very good. Like, I think he's showing he's a pretty good player. But I think it's going to come back down to earth a little bit.
Do you think Rondale Moore will Pittman Dortch?
I hate that. I hate all the Rondale Moore love right now because it's leaning it. Like, I don't think the role exists and you just fill it with a player. Like, that's the exact opposite of how I go. So I think this is Dortch showing that he's capable. Like,
yeah.
From back when I thought he was pretty much above, above average.
He was a fun slot receiver, which
this makes me concerned about Rondale Moore. I mean, I always suspect injury and this other player you've never heard of getting on the field and doing well is actually about the player not being injured, but this player being better, but then being more invested in Rondale Moore. So they don't want to admit that. I have paranoia running through my veins.
And if Rondale Moore takes over the Deutsch role, who's going to catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage? I mean,
Michael Brown.
You need him to be there.
That's true. D Magoon, 10-team Superflex PPR, start 10. Got offered Justin Jefferson. Take it. I'm done. That's it.
Well, no, it's a Superflex, and Herbert is on the other side. Peter, you got to keep reading.
Okay. Brees Hall and Brees Hall, though, for Justin Herbert and DJ Moore. I'm really stuck on the Justin Jefferson side. Yeah, it's a fair point. Herbert probably wins this trade, but you're not getting Justin Jefferson out of it any other way than over like doing something stupid, I guess.
Right. If it was 12 team, yes. 10 team though, quarterback to me not quite as important for Superflex, so I'll take the Jefferson all time.
Yeah, and I think maybe even the Brees Hall. So DJ Moore is in this kind of weird purgatory.
Mm-hmm. He's great, but he's there.
He's not great. He's like everyone is like he's gonna be great, but he just hasn't ever quite been great. Okay.
I think he is a great player. I just think we continually, we expect Justin Jefferson, and instead we're gonna get his DJ Moore,
right?
Which is amazing, but it's not
really good, And so I think, I'm with you on this. My Justin Jefferson love may cloud my judgment, and my absolute disdain for quarterbacks. Like I play in several still. Russ isn't here, so I can say this, but several one quarterback leagues because I enjoy that with a QB premium more than I do a Superflex where I'm starting Matt Ryan.
I don't know why I keep doing this. I keep quote tweeting our live feed and like saying what we're talking about, but by the time anyone gets in, we've moved on, and they keep getting confused. And I'm like, I've got to stop doing this. I think 10 team. I think Kev's right. The difference there is you want the most advantage at any position you can get. That's Jefferson. I mean, we've got to see an end to these 50-point wide receiver weeks eventually. It's probably going to reduce a little bit, but I wouldn't bet on Jefferson being the guy to get fewer of them. Jared Goodman, I'm 2-0. Good job, Jared. Looking like a competitor, certainly are. Well, if you're on the MFL, check your power ranking and all play percentage because you can go 2-0 and be crap. But that if you're on MFL, it's a really good number to check, just to check that it's real. Of course, just looking at your roster will give you a pretty good impression. Have 323 first and 324 first. I mean, just a flex post here. What should I do? I think that is with all those picks. Just keep them, man. Keep winning. Keep holding the pick. Like what? He wants to put the pressure on himself to definitely win this year. He wants to upgrade from Hunt and Patterson, which is pretty good. But both of those are pretty good starters, man. And could use another wide receiver. If you're upgrading, especially where you have the draft capital and the wins, like don't go cheap. For a start, some of the best running backs in rookie ranks in Dynasty ranks this offseason are probably going to be rookies. That's why I think a lot what's going to 23 class is going to be. And we're not satisfied with the running back position right now. So they're probably going to lower because of age and whatnot, apart from Jonathan Taylor. So be aware of that. And if you're trading for running back, you're kind of going for Jonathan Taylor if you're spending any of that draft capital. I think that's the only way that's what I'd want, you know?
And the other piece to this for me, Jared, is I would still wait another week, at least maybe 2, because, and Peter, you can probably speak to this better than I can, but I started digging into from the other side of your tweet thread that you put out today, where I started looking at where we figure out who is going to be where in a season. And by the end of week 3, we have over a 50% chance or a 50% idea of who's going to be in the top 12 for wide receivers and for running backs. Over the past, I look back all the way to 2014. It's so those picks are a coin flip, a 50% chance of returning a top 24 season. As soon as you get to past week 3, you have a better chance of a top 12 season than you do of those picks returning you a top 24 season. By the time you get to week 4, it's up around 60%. And then obviously the longer you wait. So, but those week 3, week 4 is when I want to start looking at the teams in my league that are struggling, that have players that are in the top 12, because those are the players that I'm going to bet on. Those are the teams who will make the trades for those 23 first or 24 first, because they're already looking to rebuild. And so that's what I would what I would do, Jared, is wait at least another week.
I encourage rash decisions, but week 3 is a really good time to make them.
Mm-hmm.
Like week 3 is rash enough. But I would say by micro markets as they were, I don't think so, but Javonte Williams is currently underperforming his volume and has already taken that. I'm wrong on this. I thought Melvin Gordon would still hold 30% of the work. This isn't a victory lap. But Javonte Williams has taken over. As rough as Denver is, Javonte Williams should be in the top 12 already and isn't. If there's an all a window, I would include him on the try and trade for him now. If you're trying to win and you're giving up draft capital list, it's him and Jonathan Taylor. Maybe it's about it. Other than that, it's cheaper than your draft capital. So Gibson's pretty decent unless Brian Robinson comes back and changes it all. He should keep it up. So you don't want to be trading a 23 first for that, or even maybe a 24 first. Can anyone think of anyone below that line? That's what Harris is there too. He might be on that three players that I might trade a 23 first for if I'm winning, like you are.
I think right now I'd be looking to try and upgrade using a second. Maybe there's an 0-2 team who thinks that adding Hunt and a second, allows them to get back into it. Like try to take advantage of things that way. If I'm going to give up my first, I'm waiting until as close to the trade deadline as I can, because if I give up my first and that running back gets hurt, I'm going to be crushed. And you might as well just give as much information as you can. And if those teams that are understanding they're not going to compete, they're out of the playoffs as it gets closer to the trade deadline, if you have one in your league, they're going to be more willing to move somebody who can help you win for that first as it gets closer to that deadline than they will be earlier on. And so to me, if I'm going to give up an asset that valuable, I need the most information I can and closer to the deadline as possible. Right now, I'm trying to use a second, and I hear Zach talk about it all the time. Try to use that second to upgrade. You can always trade for one next year if you need to. Yeah. And especially in this situation where you have a bunch of first, use those seconds to try and upgrade your roster. But look, you're 2-0 and you Hunt and CPAT are fine in that RB2 role. So maybe the right answer is be patient in this,
I think a week it's fine for patience. And then maybe you can shoot for one of those 3. If you just really want to send a trade offer, I think offering a second and Hunt, the only 2 I can think of though are like AJ Dillon and Leonard Fournette, potential top 12, currently outside the top 12 and won't cost a first. Which is probably why waiting a week's probably the best bet. I mean, you're sitting pretty, Jared. This is awesome. I mean,
Damien Harris has been really good. Like, Reminders even hasn't taken over for him. He's been, getting some work. I mean, if I'm going to make a bet, I'd rather on one that costs me a lot less, I guess, right now.
That's the thing. Don't you think AJ Dillon and Fournette are below that first tier, though?
Below Harris, like Damien Harris?
What do you think? No, I think they're above Harris.
I think that's shooting too low. I'd rather have Hunt and Patterson when you're talking Damian Harris.
Sure.
What do you think Clyde Edwards-Helaire cost you? Because people still don't believe
Interesting one.
Mm-hmm. But he's been really good so far. You've seen the usage. Everyone is still waiting for Isaiah Pacheco to take over, but it hasn't happened.
I like that a lot. He's probably in that second pick, a rookie second round pick range.
Right.
I wouldn't want to get away Hunt or Patterson for him though. Again, he's in that. Oh, but I want to add him, but he wouldn't upgrade.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know that I'm. Again, if I'm, he said. I know Jared said upgrade. I don't necessarily want to upgrade. I want to keep those guys if I can, and then add. So like again, I don't mind throwing a 24 first at somebody, or or a second plus somebody to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, those are the types of moves where you're not getting rid of Hunt and Patterson, because those 2 guys are going to be really valuable, more valuable to you with points, Jared, than they are in a trade.
We're currently 1 hour, 10 minutes behind in the chat. 18, but I rounded it.
We haven't even gotten to the start of the show.
We just did.
No, we started at 9:30.
Shut up, Zach. I need my sanity. No, now Jared posted it twice, so we get to skip this one. Look at that. Jake, thoughts on Kamara? I need to see a second game. I mean, week 2 is okay to start making overreactions, but I need 2 weeks. Can I have 2 weeks? Which puts my concern. It'll be week 4 before I know for sure. I don't know. We haven't seen enough. I would expect Kamara to still be good, and actually that to solve a lot of the spread on that offense right now. It's like a nightmare trying to figure out who's the 1, who's the 2, and if the 2 has decent enough volume, because Chris Olave had air yards with the week 4. Jarvis Landry was great. I think Kamara's going to come in and just settle that down. That would be my expectation when he's healthy. Anyone got any better actual insight into Kamara?
I think the entire offense is a giant number 2. That's what I think.
Don't have to work blue, Cal. It's beneath you, you know? But yeah, it's pretty rough. But there are points there, to be honest, for like Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, even Chris Olave and Kamara all running at somewhat discounts right now. So I don't mind it. And the energy. Number 2 or not. Kid Coop, evening, gents. We don't have any gents, but thank you very much. 12-team Superflex. Got off at Lamb, a 23 first for Kyler Murray. No, that's too much. Kyler Murray in a Superflex, right?
Yeah, I'd take Murray, I think.
Yep.
I mean, it's closer than some might say, but...
well, again, like everyone... anyone who's been listening to the show knows how much I like 23 firsts. But it's the old Peter, if you have a boat, if you have Kyler Murray, who is a top 5 quarterback, why are you trading Kyler Murray, who's a top 5 quarterback and young, to go get Lamb, who we're hoping is a top 12 receiver perennially, and a 23 first that we're hoping becomes Kyler Murray? Like what?
Again, I'm not up on the 23 class, and I won't care about the quarterbacks until they do something anyway. But I have asked the person I do ask, and the people that I do ask, about quarterbacks and rookies, and there's no one better than Trevor Lawrence in the 23 class. Just to highlight, like 23 class looks apparently great, but there's no and there's a Russell and there's a Patrick Mahomes in this class.
Well, but
there probably isn't a Kyler Murray in this class either.
But Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson and all the guys like Dak Prescott and even Lamar Jackson, people said he was not going to be. They were trying to make him a wide receiver. So, yes, believe Travis, because Travis is. The
thing is,
this is Travis May.
Got Mahomes. He got Lamar Jackson. This isn't someone who missed those players.
And no, but what I'm saying is he didn't have them as the top players in the class 2 years out. It's so yes, there's not a prospect like Trevor Lawrence, but there hasn't been a prospect like Trevor Lawrence since Luck. That's
look how that worked out.
Well, I mean, he was pretty good until he retired. But I'm still taking Murray. That's
despite arguing against yourself there for about 5. I like the energy, man. You got to look at both sides. Calvin Hobby's going to be a little late, guys, so we'll just have to.
Nice here. Look, he's on time.
Yeah,
with whoever this guy is for a while. Grimley 1314 12-team Superflex PPR start 12 in rebuild with Herbert, Justin Jefferson, Hollywood, and Godwin. It's a hell of a rebuild.
Doesn't seem like a rebuild.
Doesn't. 423 first, 224 first. Got off at Ceedee Lamb and Pitts for Justin Jefferson and Goddard. Oh, no. I like the idea of trading for Ceedee Lamb, but this is what I got railed for on Twitter last week. I like the idea of trading for Ceedee Lamb, but the offers I get are like Justin Jefferson. I'm like, no, man, settle. I mean, the reason you might be able to trade him right now is because he's not worth that. And yeah, I haven't seen a decent offer in any of my leagues. Just Justin Jefferson all day.
Yeah, and you say you're in a rebuild, but you're going to be, if you play your cards right, you're going to be rebuilt next year. You got 4 firsts.
Yes.
So
Hollywood's going to come back. He's going to bounce up, and Godwin hopefully can get back on the field. This is a solid team this year, but that's me. Benjamin, did you say it's a super flex? Oh, that might be what it is.
He did.
Yeah.
It's
No
Herbert.
quarterback.
I mean, he's doing good.
He's got 2 quarterbacks in one. He's fine. Benjamin, 10-team PPR Superflex, 1.5 tight end premium, rebuilding. What is Pitt's price? I want to buy in. That's not quite the right question, but I appreciate it. Swift and Smith for Pitts and a 23-second, or DJ Moore. There's a lot going on here. What I'm going to start with is it's what whoever's rostering him is willing to take. And so basically I try and set myself an over-under line. If I can get Pitts for a first and a top 24 wide receiver, I think that's a pretty big buy-in. You're betting on him at that point. If I can get him for less than that, that's awesome. Yeah. If not, if it's more than that, I'm probably too hesitant. I mean, the usage needs to shift like Cal says it's going to. So we can all just blame Cal if it doesn't. Next is Swift and Smith for Pitts and a 23-second. Is Swift going to be a top 12 running back this year?
Yeah, he is. Just based on his receiving, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think his usage has been a little more split than I was hoping for. We expected a split, but Jamal Williams is eating in a little bit more.
Swift has been dealing with an ankle injury too. So
okay.
And he's had some Alvin Kamara-esque efficiency too. So
yeah.
And Smith nulls out to a 0 value here, just to be clear. I don't have no interest.
But he got a touchdown, Peter.
Yeah, exactly. So Swift for Pitts in a second.
And a 1.5 tight end premium.
Yeah, I don't think that gets it done. But
the second could be on the other side, then maybe.
Yeah. The DJ Moore though, so to me, Ben, if I want to buy into Pitts, I'm saying, okay, I'll give you, it's just like what Peter said. I'll give you a second or a 24 first and more and for your Pitts and see if that flies.
GJ Moore's about right, but no one's gonna jump. Like, so you add something.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay, that's good. That's basically a 23 first, and then you add a little chaser to make them, feel like they're, because they shouldn't be. Pitts should, hopefully, based on his rookie season, eventually be good again. So, I'm never actually trying to screw over the other person. I don't want to look back and like their team tanked because of my trade. So I want to offer something slightly good. DJ Moore plus a second is a pretty good offer for Pitts. Yeah,
I found 3 trades in the Trade Finder: Kyle Pitts or Deebo Samuel and Darren Waller.
Deebo and Waller, yeah.
Kyle Pitts and Devontae Parker, whatever, for Jerry Jeudy, Dalton Schultz, and a first in 2023.
Oh, I hate that one.
Kyle Pitts and Raheem Mostert for Darrell Henderson and Travis Kelce.
Ooh.
Sorry.
I think again, that depends on where your team is at. Like if I'm competing, I want Kelce. I want the positional. Yeah. But again, if I'm middle of the road, I'm going to take Pitts and be happy. I probably can spin Pitts for things that I want more than Pitts.
But that's the thing. An idea of what you need to do.
That's such a scale though. That first trade, I'm interested in trading away Pitts. Those other two, right. I think those are pretty good for Pitts.
Yep.
And so it's about what your person in your league wants, and that gives you a range. Pretty good.
And it'll be interesting too to see. Again, this may be the time to strike because Pitts has had 2 bad weeks. Are you willing to gamble if he has another? Because people are going to start to panic if he has another one next week. If he puts up 3 in a row where Arthur Smith can't figure out how to get him the ball, like we're doing it's going to be interesting.
No, Cal says it's going to change next week. I believe him.
I like it.
I'm always hesitant to expect volume to change even after 2 weeks. Drastically, it will. That's why I wait for that 3rd week. But it depends what trade offer you get. That first one and trade them away. Those other 2, I'll probably wait another week if I'm rostering him. Benjamin's back. And what if I want to go get Breece Hall? What do I have to give up for Bateman? On top of Bateman? Breece Hall's rough, man. I mean, it's 2 weeks. I'm waiting 3 weeks. I get it. But right now, Bateman looks better than Breece Hall in Dynasty by a fair bit.
If you're rebuilding, you don't want to go get running backs right now. Anyway, not during the season. Like if you're rebuilding for next year, Don't get running backs now. Get running backs once you're full in rebuild. Like I try to get them in rookie drafts that may or may not be feasible, but that's how I do it. Like Peter, you've played in dynasty leagues with me. Like my running back rosters, when I am waiting for that class that I have identified, my running back rosters will be RB1 JD McKissick and whoever the backup is to James Conner. And like that's how I play that position until I'm ready to commit to being a good team, being a contender. So don't. I know Breece Hall looks good. I know, but don't trade for a running back yet, Ben. If you are rebuilding, you said you're rebuilding. Don't do that yet.
And even then, a young, good wide receiver is worth more in a dynasty than a young, good running back. So this trade is a little backwards in and of itself. Just throw that out there. Ryan C. Send a 23 first, a second, Brady and Olave get Hurts. I'm assuming it's super flex. And a 24 second. Too much? Not enough?
Yes, do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's not. I don't think it's that far off in terms of value.
Given the first and Brady, which kind of sucks, but I continue to remain convinced Hurts isn't as bad as Twitter would have you believe. And the Eagles seem pretty happy. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Made these two trades as a contender. 12-team, 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, partridge in a pear trees type stuff. Juju, Hines, and a third for DK and Phillip. That's solid.
That's a win.
Looking for that's solid.
Nice job, Kirk. I know Peter's hurt. He gave up Juju, but that's a win.
But that's a smart move. Juju, that offense is like New Orleans. It's real hard to see if there's going to be acceptable receiver 2 volume there through 2 weeks. It's a little too spread. It's Kelsey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Mahomes. It's like one. The other trade he made was Kyle Phillips, who's been interesting so far. A late second, a third for Hopkins.
That one is a little bit.
I mean, it's fine, but I mean,
I think I can do more with Phillips a second and a third. I don't hate it, but I think I can do more with Phillips. And look, Phillips has a chance to like be a pretty good 2 in Tennessee. So if he does, if they take him out of punt returns,
that's definitely a wait a third week. I think it's safe to wait a third week to package Phillips up with to go get.
And you're also Hopkins, like Hopkins, is not going to be back till after week 6. So, you've got a nothing for another 4 weeks here.
And just know if you're buying Hopkins, you're buying the rest of his career. You're never going to be able to move him. Like you're buying the rest of his career.
You're never getting this second back. Like it's a one-time thing. James Flatley, 1 QB Dynasty League. Trey Lance was dropped. And my only QB is Russell Wilson. We only have 8 bench. Oh, that's probably why. Do I drop Jalen Tolbert, David Bell, Jarvis Landry to pick up Lance? Yes.
Yeah.
Drop Tolbert.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he says then he can put him in IR. So, and then you can.
I don't know why that other guy didn't do that. Who else could he possibly have in IR?
Yeah.
Cool. Go get. Easy dubs. Tyler Boyd and the 110 in 23 for Garrett Wilson.
How do you know it's 110?
Yeah, that's what I was. I mean, it's 23 first. 23 first for Garrett Wilson. And I think that's, yeah. It's maybe a boat thing.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're targeting running backs next year, like Zach was saying, and then
if you're targeting running backs, you get Garrett Wilson, and then you can. And then want a running back, trade Garrett Wilson for a running back plus. Like that's fine. Like we want good players.
Where is your line right now? What's worth a 23 first from this rookie class? It used to be just Breece Hall, and now Wilson's above it. And Breece Hall, is he still above it?
Yeah, Breece Hall was like the watermark.
That's what I mean. Has it shifted?
Yeah, and again, it's going to be team dependent for me, but I do like Wilson is there.
London and Wilson are the only two above the line for me right now.
Yeah, but you've also seen quite a bit out of Olave, and you've seen quite a bit out of Burks, even though nobody wants to admit that they have.
I'm holding, but right now, if you're asking me to for your team, like we do here, like it's real hard to put Burks over that line. Like I believe, but my belief doesn't translate. It doesn't transfer. Those credits don't spend. As a Juju believer, I have to enforce that on myself. But those are the only two over the line for me. Breece Hall's fallen below it. It's a smidge.
Yep.
And London and Wilson have jumped over it. It's a lot of interesting.
I still need a little more than a random 23 first, I think, to move Breece Hall. But yes, I think
it's close, right?
London and Garrett Wilson. I think you see it in a wide receiver quicker than you see it in any other position. And what Wilson did on Sunday, to me, like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube there. He has it. He's good. Like I loved it. It was awesome.
Kind of showed up in week one. I feel like that was. I may have got that one a little right.
It was
my articles don't get a lot of views. Okay, no one wants to read me. They want to see me be stupid on a video, so they don't. But I think they split the work week one, and Wilson had more value in his opportunity, and week two really showed out. I'm shutting up. Ryan C. 12-team Superflex. Send Brady, Olave, and a 23 first. Get.
We just did that one.
This one. Good evening, gents. Thank you, Samson.
Hey,
appreciate
Samson.
that. It's nice just to have a conversation instead of having questions shouted at. I'm just kidding, but I appreciate you, Samson. Bob Gilchrist. Never heard of him. First time caller. Thanks for having me. No problem, man. Want to make sure your listeners keep selling pits to Bob. Yeah.
The man makes a mean pulled pork, but his pits love is
He works hard on it too. Like it was good, but I'm not sure I'm spending an entire day making something. That's just my
I thought about Bob.
Hard on that thing, and then we all ate it in like 5 minutes. So I was like, I feel bad.
I thought about Bob this week enough to think about texting him, but not enough to actually text him. So maybe next week.
Nice. Ridley Truther, welcome back, man. Yo, gents, in a 12-team, 2 tight end Superflex PPR contender with 223 firsts, who's someone you'd package with Dotson? Anyone? 23 first. Plus, if needed, I'm not understanding for what. What?
So
am I reading this badly?
So he wants to package Dotson and a first and move up to a wide receiver that's above.
Okay,
Dotson.
Yeah. Who can he get with Dotson on a first? Sorry, Ridley. Mess that one up. Yeah, I think Debo's probably too much, but I don't think it's too far off. He's being held in a value tier right now. As far as I can tell, since we don't have week-to-week or day-to-day ADP, he seems to be around like Ceedee Lamb, honestly. Waddle's probably moved above him, but like Ceedee Lamb in that high value, but with some reason people aren't willing to elevate him into the old producer tier with Tyreek and everyone else, and definitely not up into the Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase tier. And I think it belongs between those two. So it's possible you get him for Dotson on a first. It really is. 2 weeks of not enough points, but the volume's been there. I don't think it's too much. I'd try it.
Could you get T. Higgins?
Higgins is a good one. I was going to say Higgins, Pittman, the guys who've been kind of nicked a little bit, but and the Debo one.
Is there any more leeway in the Jalen Waddle buy window? Because that was a really fun. No, everyone after 150 yards and everyone figured that out.
Yeah, they realized that Tua actually can sustain 2 wide receivers because he's got 2 great wide receivers.
Send it for Debo, get rejected, then send it for CeeDee Lamb. That's actually a pretty perfect trade for CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Debo's gonna be fun though because because Garoppolo's back at the helm there, and that's gonna be really good for Debo.
who's doing it week 1 and 2, but week
I
1
know.
they had a monsoon, and week 2, unfortunate game all around. It's Ceedee and Debo. I think those are your 2 highest targets. Amon-Ra St. Brown seems to have a lot of wind behind the hype sails, but it depends on the guy in your league, and I think that's a decent trade for him. Let's see, young, good, not quite up there. That's the kind
I'm
of
not sure you get him for that, but maybe.
I don't
think either, but I would.
He's got way too much wind in his sails right now,
Yeah.
but he should be valued right there. I think probably Garrett Wilson. Speaking of guys worth more than a 23 first, is he worth Dotson on the first?
You probably won't get him for that because of last week, but maybe next week you get him for that. That's one of those little micro markety things. But
if you get Debo or who do we say, Ceedee and Lamb, I don't think it's an unfair trade. But there you go. Those are probably the 3 best. Pick an order and then send it. Get rejected. Send the next one, kind of a thing. That's the way I run it. Kevin. My Pitts and Tannehill for Joe Burrow and Gesicki. Gesicki is a 0. Just saying. 12-team Superflex. I have no immediate thoughts. I think I'd probably just rather roster Burrow at this point.
I'm assuming he doesn't mean that he can start 9 QBs. I'm sure that's what this is.
Yeah, it's a starting written league.
Tano, Mac, Brady.
I mean,
go.
I hate everything about this.
I think I would take the Burrow side, but it's not by a lot. I assume non-tight end premium. So
I mean, if he has another bad week, this trade's probably off the table. That's why I'm leaning the Burrow. It's not that Pitt shouldn't bounce back eventually. It's that he's got Brady, so he's probably playing. He cares about his points, and I don't think another bad week you get Burrow for Pitts and Tannehill, let alone another 2. How long did you say it was going to be before you changed his usage, Cal? You're going to get that done in the next 3 weeks, in which case maybe I stay on Pitts.
Do we know if Jalen Ramsey was covering Kyle Pitts a lot this week? That was my other question. I didn't get a chance to research, but
no, I did.
But anyway, so Gesicki, yes, he's kind of a 0 right now, but Ryan Tannehill might be a literal 0 very, very soon. And so I like the idea of getting rid of him. And Gesicki showed that he can catch the ball. Maybe not in this offense. Maybe he has to do it on a second team, but I don't mind him dashing him.
No, to be fair, I've loved Gesicki for a long time now. The cheapest top 12 positional player you could get for years in Dynasty. There's just not going to be 6 passing touchdowns every game. And most of them are probably going to go to Hill and Waddle. Gesicki's going to do that occasionally. He's one of those streamers. It's just Dynasty, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. That's basically all I say. Bob Gilchrist, Lance will have more value than Fields this offseason. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing Lance can do to go down, and then the offseason hits, and everyone remembers why we valued him.
It's the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
If Garoppolo gets re-signed, though, that's going to flip. And I think that's what they do at the other quarterback spot that's going to matter a bunch. And obviously, if Chicago goes out and spends a bunch of money on wide receivers, we're going to get excited, right? And so
I don't get excited, Carol. Look at me. Sell both of them. Gary K, 12-team 1QB PPR. Pickens or James Cook in a Pickens?
Pickens, absolutely.
It's overreact 2 week. I was gonna say Tuesday then, because that's the second day of the week. For somehow that translated in my head. But yeah, it's overreaction time. Maybe we give an extra week for full on tilting, but James, it's rough. It's time to trade him away if you can for something decent, and Pickens may be a boat. Samson starting to lean on your side with starting Samson.
Kadarius toenail.
Get paddling, catch up, man. At this point, his value is shot. Yes, so I think I just gotta hope. Yeah, that's where you're at. I mean, you can drop him or you can hold him, and probably hold him. I get he's the kind of guy with one play he can make himself worth a second. He's exciting. But that's where we're at. Order 66, 12-team Superflex tight end premium. Lance or Pitts? Straight up.
Pitts.
Yeah, sure. Zach Cole, Pitts or Everett this week?
Oh, this is a depressing question. Oh my gosh.
This is a start sit.
I hate that it's this question. Like I hate that you have to think about it.
I mean, if Pitts does great, he might score like Everett has been. And so even if you bench Pitts and he does well this week, I'm not expecting Everett to be a 0. Like, if you know what I mean? So, like, I think I just start Everett and start Sid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
God.
No?
No, I mean, that's fine. Like,
I think if you're emotionless, sure. But if I sit Kyle Pitts for Gerald Everett and, like, it blows up, I won't sleep. Like, it's just, I just don't know that I can do that to myself.
Yeah,
well, you're not wrong. 4 for 4, best projections in the business. They have back-to-back, but they have Pitts at 10, Everett at 11.
Yeah,
so,
I think
it is close. It's a philosophy thing. I guess this is almost just how you want to play thing.
This could be a gelato. This could be gelato. This could be
gelato moment.
Take your $5 bill, go down and get some gelato, get your change, flip the coin. Tails is Pitts, heads is Everett, tails never fails. Let's go.
Then just start Everett. Samson it's a great time to buy 24 pick. People want the points. I always do this every year. Buy the 2 years out before upcoming classes hype. Yeah, I got slammed on that not the other week. Like, who wants to play Dynasty like that? I'm like, you get that everyone who has multiple 23 picks did it 2 years ago. That's right. If you're in an active league where people are actively playing and not like, I'm good because I'm getting Kyle Pitts for a second right now. If you're in a competitive league, you don't get multiple 23 picks by trading for them this offseason.
No,
you had to do it 2 years ago. But like, it's not like I like playing Dynasty that way. It's in a league where people are actually pretty good and pretty switched on. You have to go 2 years out. Like, that's where we're at.
But what I will say is, don't just go 2 years out to go 2 years out.
No.
So this is where, and I've had this conversation with 2 or 3 like really good metrics analysts where they're like, this is dumb. Everyone just goes 2 years out and 2 years out and they play for the future. And I said, hold on, that not everyone does that. And this is why I value, and we're gonna shout out Travis May again. We do this every now and then, but like, it's why I value Travis May's opinion. It's why I value Felix Sharp's opinion. Some of these really, really plugged in Devy guys, because they do a good job identifying a class 2 or 3 years out, and those are the classes that I want to buy into. And the 2022 class was a class that I traded almost completely out of. And so I got a lot of David Bell because he was going in the second. I got a lot of Pickens early because he was going in the second. But I didn't have firsts because I was like, I don't really love this class. But I have a lot of 23 firsts. And so that to me, Samson, is yes, you want to get it 2 years out, but you want to identify a good class 2 years out, not just that they're picks.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, who were those analysts, by the way? Because I that's stupid. Like, that is what we do. We go 2 years out. It's like everyone saying, if we drafted right before the NFL draft, I'd win every year. It's like, if you draft right before the NFL draft, everyone's going to start their research 3 months earlier. But the reason we now are 2 years out is because the Devy community sprang up and went 2 years out. And if you're like, well, we need to only push it to 3 years out, someone will... Like, it's an arms race of information and process and trying to beat each other. It's a game. So we're always going to be pushing each other further out until we are at a high school level.
What the argument was just trading 2 years out to trade and kicking that can down the road.
But that's a fine default because the Devy community has gotten too good. Like, it's not like you have to make those 24 picks. Well, if you're just building for value right now, you trade 2 years out, and because I don't know about the 25 and 26 class yet. I have to wait till Travis lets me know when that class is coming up. So I've got nothing else to do for now but trade for an asset that can't lose value and might gain value
Right.
until I select that year. Like, it's not a bad default, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Give me that name, Zach. I want to fight. But no, I get what your point. It's better to target a class, but it's also not a redundant throwing it out there rule.
No, and
It's just
especially when
inherently we are 2 years out right now.
Especially when people tend to use the old measuring stick of a pick 2 years out is worth a second next year. So then you're inherently gaining value. And if you do that enough, great. But to me, classes aren't all classes aren't all equal.
No, exactly. But we'll be willing to get out of classes when you know more. But we are so many years out. Dev community will know more about that class and that class as we move forward. So.
Right.
But no, I think combining the two is a good move. Great move. Right. Traded DJ Moore for Brees in a standard. In standard, yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, rather have the running back.
Yep.
Well, good job, Jake.
I mean,
Ryan.
DJ Moore scores 4 touchdowns a year. What are you going to do with that in standard?
Written in stone. Ryan C. did that last year and have 420. That's how you do it. Yeah. No one's going to. Anyway. What? Breaking up here.
The J. Mike Invitational.
Norris Designs. Rebuild. He has Trevor Lawrence, Debo, Brees, ETN. Seeing some sells. Cortland Sutton, London, Dotson, to name a few. Feeling really good right now, though I'm not winning. Should I? Yeah, you should be feeling good. You work through the process. You do the best I can with what your league will give you. I think Brees and ETN are interesting sells. Even Cortland Sutton, his points should come up, at which point you should probably try and get value for him because you're building. Dotson, I assume you couldn't get a good trade for him after week 1, which is fine, but he's still in a sell window. London and Debo and Lawrence are the 3 that I'm not really trading at market right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, builds suck. You're trying to compete as soon as possible, but it is what it is, you know.
I'm trying to get out of BTN, so that's the one.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Did I not say him as well? Like,
that was the first one you said, but we're nodding vigorously.
Yeah, trying to put an exclamation point on that one for you.
Anything close to a first for those guys, just to be clear, even if it's a package to get there.
If I can get a first for the backup running back for the Jags, I'm happy.
Hell yeah. It's undrafted free agent country. Okay.
A lot of James Robinson truthers over this way.
Is Cat wearing a Rice Owls hat? It
does look like that. It's not. It's the Knights baseball organization that my kids play for, that I coach. I worked for practice and didn't have time to do my hair after, so just wear the hat.
I feel that.
I wouldn't know about that. Never had those problems. By just not caring about them. To be honest, is Devontae Smith not now? Last week, it would have been a smart thing to say. I never even thought to say it. But right now, if he has finally a good game, I mean, it's for what, Jake? It depends what the trade is. But yeah, Devontae Smith is young and good based on it's Kyle Pitts, but at a lower value tier, you know. So yeah, let's see the trade first. But yeah, Kenneth Lee, 10-team full PPR dynasty. Which side of the trade do you prefer? Tua, Hill, Mixon, or Russ, Wilson, Adams, Eckler? Wow. I'm torn between so many things here. I want Tua, but I want Wilson. And you getting Adams and Eckler? I think it's B. Right? But that's horrible. Like, Mixon's good. These are all good players. This is a fun trade. I like this league.
Man. It doesn't say super flex.
Does not.
In a draft, wouldn't
Adams,
Mixon
Eckler, and Wilson?
Would Mixon and Hill go before Adams and Eckler?
I think,
just based on age.
I think I'm 1A then. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where I am. I'll take that side.
But I'm on that side as well, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tua's the only thing holding me back. I think I want Wilson, assuming that's Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and Eckler.
I think it's
Russell Wilson.
Oh, I was seeing another comma and it's not there. Oh, well, no. Adams and Eckler. Yeah,
you can't have another. You can't have 2 Wilsons.
I want 2.
You got to pick one.
Hill, Adams, Eckler. Yeah, it's just Hill and Mixon are better than Adams and Eckler in Dynasty, at least. I do prefer Adams over Hill.
Yeah, for this year, but it's. I mean, that's close too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's close enough. I probably just take them to a side, use it as an X factor. And Samson sold a Smithy share for a 23 first. I think that's fair. And a 24 third, sure. Because Cal told me to.
Yeah. No, I don't mind.
I don't remember, but yes, that does sound like something I would say. Yes, I want the side with the picks.
But that's the thing. So yeah, Devontae Smith is great, but you're playing for upside. Like you're playing for ceiling, and that 23 first has potential to be better than Smith. Like we've seen what Smith is. We've seen that he's good, but they're still. I know that people are starting to like talk down on the wide receivers in the 23. There are still some legit players coming out.
More people want that first more than they want Smith.
Yeah,
and that's a
gives
simple,
you the flexibility. Yeah. Yep.
What has more value, whichever side I can say that to, and you can get more for the first off more people, so your league will probably give you more for. You know what I mean? I said it. I should shut up constantly. Cool. 1979 or 1979 if I was literate. 12 team 1 QB start 7. Start 7. Send Adams, Montgomery, get Pittman and Cam Akers.
I would rather have Adams and Montgomery, I think.
Akers isn't startable in that league. 12 team, but start 7? That seems like a restriction. Yeah, it's Adams and Montgomery for me.
And I like Pittman.
I know you do.
But man, Adams.
Right.
The points you're going to get from Adams is just ridiculous.
And Montgomery's much more startable than Akers for the year. So, Greens Point Gridiron. Sorry. Had a moment. 10 team, 1 PPR. 1 point PPR, start 9. I have JJ.
Justin Jefferson. Or Zach Eason, but either way.
I was thinking Zach Eason, I'll be honest.
That's either way, it's a top 3.
But he wants Cup, Chase, or Diggs. And one Chase Cup. Yeah, well, yeah. I have Swift, Breece Hall, Dillon, Gabriel Davis. What trade can he put together to go get Cup, Chase, or Diggs from this roster is essentially the question. And which one would you target in order? I would target Cup first because he's got age, but so he's a nice like middle value there. Easier to trade for, but get all the production. I would put Gabe Davis or Bateman with anything else of interest. Jameson. And try and get it. That's not enough. No one's doing that. Shit. I started off bad here. See, Bateman and a first should get Cup. Or Diggs. It won't get Chase.
Yeah.
If I could get away with Gabe Davis in a first, I would do that. But I don't think everyone's Twitter. And I think Bateman's got more value than Elijah Moore or Pickens and Burks. So if I say, like, it's just not there. And I want to give up as few things as possible because I'm not trying to spam them with depth adding up to the value. And so Bateman in the first is probably the most solid offer you could send. Cup, it doesn't get Chase, though. You have to go to get Chase, you have to offer those 3 first. And I'm not doing it.
I might try to send something like Breece Hall and Davis. Because I think you get enough with either Cup, with any of those 3 guys. I think you get enough of a positional advantage over what you're getting from Hall.
I was trying to keep the running backs if I'm going for the Cup or the Diggs, but I get what you mean.
Well, I mean that's fine. That's fine, but I got 2 running backs I could start. I'm still going to get points. I'm going to get more points by having, Cup or Chase or Diggs. So,
I mean, everything just offer every wide receiver below Bateman and a first, and I'll take any of them. But that's the thing; people hate packages like that. I don't think you get it.
It's a tough question, I think, to answer. Don't trade Elijah Moore right now. Don't trade Pickens right now.
Exactly.
maybe you could trade Burks, maybe you trade, some of those first. I just don't know that like in a 10-team league, like you got Justin Jefferson, you got Bateman, you got Elijah Moore. How many of these guys are going to be able to start on a weekly basis? I guess
I'd
9. Oh, sorry.
No, I start Cup, Chase, and Diggs every week this year and probably next year too. I'm not concerned. Like, I think these are 3 players I would go and trade for if I'm trying to win and also stay good. But I mean, those are the offers I see in the rough. It's put Bateman with the first and try and sneak one. Anything more is destabilizing your team too much almost.
Yep.
You're giving up a little too much from your situation, which they don't have to care about.
Throw the 3 first at Chase.
I mean,
Like,
that's
not to be like
that was
try
my first
that.
thought. So yeah, I like
that's
it.
what that's 3 firsts at Chase, and I don't think anyone will hate you for it. No, do that. Why not? Would you do 2 firsts for Cup or Diggs separately?
I would trade 2 firsts for either of them. I don't know if you're gonna. I think they're probably like 2 firsts and a nyet. So maybe if you tried the 2 firsts and they came back no, maybe you could add a second to that, or maybe you could add like one of those other pieces. But I like
3 firsts, man.
In a 1 QB league, absolutely in this situation with a 10-team. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we're saying trade your draft capital, which is it's in season, points matter.
Well,
Those
I mean,
are probably the strongest offers you could send. Yeah,
trade your draft capital, but you're also trading your draft capital for like proven commodities, like and top.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's when you don't go all value.
Yeah.
Go get those guys.
Well, I mean that's what you're spending your value on. Like that.
I mean, at some point you got to get good players, right?
Yeah.
Reed Brain, 12-team Superflex PPR. AJ Dillon for a late 23 first and 24 third, whatever. That's too much, right? You want less than that.
Yeah, I'd rather have the first.
You don't want to spend a first on Dillon. Yeah.
It's
the right target.
Yeah, Dillon's the player that I package players to go get.
Yeah, but if you're trading away Dillon for that first, you do that.
I do that. Yep.
I recall being mocked out of the chat. I'm normally probably saying Kyle Pitts was going to lose production with the downgrade from Ryan to Mariota and competition with London. Probably. I'm mocking now too if you want. I mean, yeah. Lawrence is in a tier or even 2 above Fields and Lance now. I don't think value-wise that would be true. People are still hopeful this season turns around for Fields, and like I said about Lance, his value's probably going to stay unless Jimmy G. Cal's got a good point there. Maybe it's a difference between how you want to value players and how everyone else is going to value them, and the same with this true too. You can call victory shots all you want, but you weren't able to get that out of the market or out of your league mates, and it's worth nothing. Outranking people gets you almost nothing.
Kyle Pitts has,
but good job.
The Seahawks this week without Jamal Adams, I kind of like his chances of bouncing back.
It's the get right game for Pitts.
This is the week.
He's calling it. Cal's calling it.
This is the week.
I'm glad you got on the phone and fixed that.
Yep.
Samson Simpson. I think 1 QB with 6 points, 6-point touchdowns is better than Superflex, and get a lot of shit for it. I don't have a lot of strong feelings about scoring positions at all. I mean, 6-point per touchdown does affect things. I like Superflex, honestly.
See, and
I like the restriction on the value of them. I like it.
I like playing in 1 quarterback leagues with a quarterback premium. So you're good. You have the striations within the position. So your good quarterbacks are that much better, and I don't have to think about Daniel Jones and Baker Mayfield. Like that's what I like.
Hey, Sam, say that on a show with Addison on it. Addison is very passionate about this. He thinks Superflex is all wrong. So,
and saying I spent years recording the dummies with Kyle Lebrecht, and Kyle is like staunchly anti Superflex. So
it's not as bad as like tight end premium or whatever, but again, it really is. If you enjoy it, play it. It's cool.
Yep.
I think Lawrence rising, Dak and Russ falling. I think Dak. It depends on what. If you're talking about market value, yes, yeah, definitely. Dak would be the one I would want to try and take advantage of there. It's not. I don't think Lawrence is going to be bad long term. It's just that I don't think he's going to finish multiple times in the top 5, which Dak already has. Russ, I'm concerned about. I've got no. I'm hoping he can put it together there. Maybe this is just the difficulty in starting in a new offense. What would I know? But God, I hope he puts it back together because so far it's been terrible. Flo Sorens. Hey guys, 12 teams to flex start 9. Panic sold Lance. That's always a bad sign. Plus 223 thirds for Justin Fields.
Yes, you overpaid, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
not that badly, but I think, yeah,
long term it might work out, but from this perspective, yeah. But you're going to get some points this year, so hopefully you can do something with those.
Look, people send bad tweets all the time, and they tweet through it. This might be a bad trade. Just trade through it. Just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep trading.
Quarterbacks suck for evaluation, man. That's what I think. I get the valuing handcuff, but Bears running backs is clearly as clear as 2 weeks can be. A running back 1 and 2 as opposed to a running back 1A and 1B. That people thought it would be. Your thoughts, Bears? I mean, I don't think
it was coached.
Did we think the Bears was going to be split?
No. Some people did. Khalil Herbert did really well when Montgomery was injured last year. Like that was the
very bad, old bad process because he's the guy, right? And the new coach, that's always just noise. Khalil Herbert is someone who needs an injury. It relates to Jay Zacharyason's research somewhere where the backup running back, the guy who gets the second most touches, isn't necessarily the guy who takes over if a running back gets injured. I mean, that's Khalil Herbert. He doesn't actually have to have an active role. Jamal Williams and Darrell Henderson are ones who get active part roles while the running back one is healthy. And so they're more startable to begin the season at least.
Well, and Herbert's had some run already this year, but it's not like what Montgomery is.
He's good. But he doesn't suck up that 20-30% share that I thought Melvin Gordon was going to suck up, and he's a little low right now. But Henderson is doing it. Carter and Breece Hall is still a shock to me. But there you go. What is Amon-Ra Saint's value? What is the Sun God's value right now in Dynasty? Too much, apparently. Would you trade T. Higgins, Ceedee Lamb, Deontay Johnson, or DK Metcalf for him, just to name a few? Straight up, which one of those guys would you offer for Amon-Ra St. Brown right now?
Deontay Johnson's the first one I would offer.
Yeah.
And DK Metcalf is close, probably. The other two are ahead of him, I think.
Yeah.
CD is the only one I'd say is the same or above. But not really. Look, Amon-Ra St. Brown is who we hope these players will be. Like it's a boat for maybe a boat. And I hate to keep resorting to that metaphor, but it's so fun. And I'm not scared. You can't make me scared that he wasn't a first-round pick. It's impossible for me to be scared about draft capital. Scientifically proven. Impossible.
But you play in leagues with people who do care about it. And that's part of the thing.
That's why the CeeDee Lamb is the only one I think.
CeeDee Lamb has that DJ Moore
cachet
value, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like he's gonna have that no matter what. So he'll have value whether he has production or not. If Amon-Ra St. Brown's production dips for a 3-week stretch, his value is gonna go way down.
Yeah. And a lot of people are gonna say, "I told you so."
Yep. It's just the way it is.
I told you so on a secret tweet. I never told you about it. Higgins and DK Metcalf are also interesting for that reason. There is always a look at those abs T-score. And DK's got it. And Higgins, I really tried to, I have him in some leagues, and I really tried to find the value that is ADP, but no one would trade. Like, there's a T. Higgins horde, But unless one of them lives in your league, his name's Russ Fisher. If you play with him, then it's. I had trouble finding them when actually asking them to put money up, if you know what I mean. But those two both have hypes. Like again, Amara has a struggling week, or both of them have a great week, or changing Metcalf's quarterback situation. You're gonna find some value there. But straight up right now, Ceedee's the only one I'd value equally to him because he's got that cachet. So yeah, all of them, but try with Deontay first. Gavin, rank from least worried to most worried. Pitts, ETN, Dobbins, Akers, Bateman. Least worried about Bateman because he's fine. I think it's gonna come back down, but I'm not getting into that thing. He is fine. There's no reason not to value him highly in Dynasty.
Pitts is 2.
Pitts is 2. Then the running backs, and I don't care. Trade them all. Panic your little ass off. That's why I play running back.
I think that's the order, though. I think it's ETN, Dobbins, Akers for me.
But I think all three had a top 24 ceiling with hype anyway, so I've been selling them. Well, I mean, when ETN dropped because of James Robinson.
But we talked, I mean, like we talked about ETN. We talked about ETN being a buy when he was down at running back, whatever he was, 26.
Oh,
we said that when he gets that,
he wants to change
Bateman with Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell's until he's he's below. In that case, it's Pitts, ETN, Dobbins, Akers, Mitchell. Like San Francisco 49ers just rotate the running backs, so they're healthy. If they find someone else, well, Elijah Mitchell isn't. That'll be the guy, unless that guy gets hurt. So it's literally next man up.
Shanahan is so loyal though. Like as soon as Mitchell's healthy, he's going to get 18. It just when you go back and look at the game logs, like he will go right back to his RB1 when they're healthy. If they miss a couple of games, he may change them. But it's not as mysterious as everybody makes out.
No, it's exactly. You know who the guy is, and it's exactly the same with the next man. Yeah. That's the point. I just think that running back, I don't know how long he's going to miss. And that's the thing. I'm worried his value is going to run out at the end of the season, no matter what. So that's why
even healthy, he didn't have a lot of value over the offseason, didn't seem like, right? So I think
that's the thing. Yeah. He ended the season as like a top 12 running back, and then everyone's like, oh, points don't matter anymore, and he just plummeted. That's my experience. That's a story I'm telling. Lincoln was here. Yes, I assume you were. Did a late draft Dynasty buy in Superflex 12-man league. I traded a second round and a 23 first for the 105 and drafted Lamar and
yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah. Yes.
That's a fun Superflex move, Lincoln.
Yes, it is.
At its finest. 23 first have very value, but it can be overdone. And this is why it all has an in your league context, right? I say sell CeeDee Lamb, and all my DMs are for like a second. That's the only offer I can get. I'm like, no. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. Some places the hype is just crazy.
It might be overdone, but if you're saying that based on the players, I think you're missing the point. I think 23 first have value, and that just stop there. They have value, and understand what that value is and act appropriately.
Yeah.
You've been told. We got a guest star. We got to make. Sorry, I thought I had someone to go with that, and I just gave up on it. Chad, my wide receivers: Waddle, Pittman, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, DJ Moore, London. Cool. Should I move one of the Moores? Like okay, I'll draw the line after Pittman because I'm tired of fighting with Zach for a minute. Everyone else is tradable. Like I like Elijah Moore. His value is probably still too low, but he doesn't have Waddle upside. Pittman has somewhat of a line to that level of upside. Everyone else is usable. They're great players, and maybe London. Sorry, I forgot he was down there. But everyone else has a harder ceiling, in my opinion. So yeah, if you can package them up and trade them up and tear up and get running backs, they're all on the list of players I would gladly do that with. London, Pittman, and Waddle, the only ones I hesitate and have to get something I really like for. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair summary?
Take two of these guys and try to see if you can turn them into CeeDee Lamb or something, like Gabe Davis and DJ Moore or something, or try to see if you can do something like that. That's so yes, you can have too many, and just consolidate a little bit.
Yeah, that's where you try and tear up, and those are the three that I'd look at first to try and do it with. Start with DJ Moore; he has the most value, and try and get up there into someone else in that tier.
Especially if you're in a smaller league. So like a 10-team league, absolutely consolidate. A 12-team league, consolidate. Once you start getting up to 14, 16, then you want that depth a little bit more. But
the bigger the league, the more the less studs matter. I mean, ultimately your goal is to have all the studs, so you can do that but it's impossible, so why try? Lincoln was here. Thoughts on who to draft and redraft in the third round of Superflex, or should I trade away more picks to move up or back? It's really easy to, if you see the draft board, I'm guessing randomly, but a redraft in the third round, who are we looking at right now?
Lincoln Moore, take a screenshot of who's available and DM it to me at Calvin and Hobby. Let me look.
All right, just take that. Just take Lincoln. That's fine. We don't want Lincoln asking questions here. We want him in. No, that's fine. It's a lot easier if you see the draft board.
Yeah.
I'm out of my draft mode. I have a draft sheet. If you want to go look at it, it's literally just ADP with the difference between my ranks and DLF's ranks and Fantasy Pros ranks versus that ADP. But it's probably out of date by about a month at this point.
That's better.
It's redraft. Third round, you might snag a few falling running backs, but you're really starting to lean heavy wide receiver if you haven't already. Look for any of those stud tight ends that might have slipped the net, just as general third round advice. Cooper Rush has 16 more attempts and 11 more completions than Fields. Those just seem like facts.
That's true.
Like his name is also Cooper Rush, and Justin Fields' name is Justin Fields. We are one. Benjamin, thanks for the help. It's my first Dynasty League. No problem, man. We'll try our best, but be sure to check out DLF and all the other tools and articles. But come back next Wednesday. We'll chat it up. Or later in the chat. You'll probably hear late in the chat. We have a lot of comments to get to. I'm going to move on. 1.5 tight end premium, Superflex, PPR, start 11. I got Dak, Debo, Geno Smith. I gave Stafford, Hawk, Curtis Samuel, 24 first, and a 23 third. I like the Dak Debo side. I mean, flat out.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel's usage through 2 weeks looks legit. I know Debo's usage is legit, so that's like hands down a win. The 24 first is nice. Don't get me wrong. But Dak over Stafford. So, yeah, I like what you got. Very easily.
Feels bad because Dak is hurt, but that was a good get.
Mm-hmm. Stafford got Geno maybe for the next couple of weeks. Geno while Dak's hurt or something. That maybe he fills in for you. Maybe that's what this is. But yes, I like it. I'm worried about Hawk.
They called me crazy when I started Noah Brown. I actually started him last week. I beat John Hogue with Noah Brown, and he tilted his face off because I picked him up off the waiver wire and started him.
That's so awesome.
John was so mad.
Riley Bymaster reminded me this week that he jumped in the chat in here about 5 weeks ago and said, or 6 weeks ago, and said Noah Brown season is coming, and here we are, full on. It's snowing Noah Brown. It's great.
That's great. But to be fair, that's the way I started him. It's I need a guy, and I found him. And Noah Brown's good, and there was definitely signal there because Riley found it. But like, we got really lucky. Noah Brown is living off of efficient. Like that's It's like saying I knew that 20-yard touchdown was coming. It's like no, we didn't, Gavin. But I mean, if you feel that way, but that's awesome. But like, I think we got lucky. I think it's going to swing back the other way. But It's cool. You guys are the best. Like and subscribe. I appreciate it, Gavin. We're
Mm-hmm.
far from it, but we think you guys are pretty awesome. So we appreciate it. Clue 10123. I don't know why I feel compelled to read the numbers, but I do. And 12 team, by the way. Okay. What is Pitt's worth now? I feel like we've covered this several times, but yeah, 2 firsts as a random example, not both 2023. Team one. Okay, this is going to take what? Hang on. What's the rest of your comment here, dude? I've got some lag issues going on. Appreciate you not paying attention to me at this time.
What are you?
Thank you. MVs.
What are you spreadsheeting?
Yes, you're running something to back.
Actually, now you say it, I actually have like 7 spreadsheets open. Okay,
that's always what happens. Pete, you're like, you start lag, you start looking like max headroom, and I'm like, yeah, he's got the spreadsheets open.
Too many VLOOKUPs going on at the same time, Peter.
Concatenate.
Index match, baby. Yeah, talk about the...
Oh, there he goes.
Oh. Did he just like pull himself out of there?
He did.
Like on Sundays, does Peter actually somehow have a way of watching the games through a spreadsheet? Like, is there actually a spreadsheet up on his screen that he watches real time? Like
zero chance.
In my mind, that's what happens.
He's at work. He's stealing Karen's Wi-Fi because he'll like get on her phone and put the hotspot on. So he's stealing Karen's Wi-Fi and he's just refreshing box scores. That's what he's doing.
I feel like he's got some kind of concoction where it's automatically feeding into a spreadsheet and he's watching the targets that way. Like I just feel like that's
it's just yes, Juju, very good.
So I'm not sure where he is. I do have the controls here though. If you want me to finish asking.
Yeah. So he said, what's Pitt's worth now? My team: Kamara, Hurst, Lamb, Dillon, 24th, 3rd, 25 second. And a 3rd for Higbee. Oh, so this is 2 different questions. Kamara, Hurst, Lamb, Dillon, a 3rd and a 2nd for Higbee, McCaffrey, Godwin, and Eckler.
There's so much going on here. I feel like this is one of those that it started with something and then somebody got a trade calculator and like started adding pieces to both sides to get an even number.
Yeah.
And this is where it ended up.
This is one where I would break this down. If I got this, I would decline it. And then I would start like making pieces where like you eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Counter with a simpler offer.
Yeah.
Counter with this. Decide what it is on that side that you really want and send an offer just for that. That's be the way I'd approach it.
Like if you're getting McCaffrey, Godwin, and Eckler, great. Do that.
Yeah. I have I don't steal Karen's Wi-Fi anymore. I steal the stores. I have evolved. Gavin Ferguson, Dynasty half-point PPR. I don't have to think about selling Christian Kirk, right? 8 to 10 times. Yeah, Christian Kirk's probably a little undervalued in Dynasty. He's solid. Yep. Yeah. And Corey Davis, on the other hand, as much as I'd love to tell you, it's Corey Davis and Christian Kirk season. Corey Davis looks a little unsustainable, which is a sad because I've started him 2 weeks in a row and it's luckily paid off. Andrews, Dynasty tight end 1. Would you put him over Kelce?
Always has been meme.
Fair enough. Yeah, fine. Are the Buccaneers crumbling before our eyes? Haven't they gone like 2-0?
Yes. If this is crumbling, give it. I'll take it.
Yeah, they look like they're winning. I mean, yes, having to do it with Gabe Davis as the injuries. Not Gabe Davis. Who is it? Russell Gage?
Last week they did it with Scotty Miller and his 10 targets.
Yes.
Like every time, and I said the day before, so I said Saturday, is everybody ready for Scotty Miller season? And I got a couple of people that laughed. And then I'm like, it's Scotty Miller season. It happened. Now it's going to be Cole Beasley season, though, because Scotty dropped a few balls. So
it's going to be a lot of Leonard Fournette season against Green Bay this week.
Yeah,
it's a lot of Tom Brady season. Guys, it's Tom Brady's NFL. We're all just trying to play fantasy football around it. Like, come on. 12-team Suplex. I have a middle to bad team. first.
So mid to early
first-
first round pick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to say, I think. And they offered me CMC and Henry for their own first back, I guess. A second, Khalil Herbert, and Gainwell. I mean, that's a lot just for a single first.
I'd take that.
I'd take, yeah.
I'd give them their first for CMC and Derrick Henry. Yes.
Yeah, CMC's usage has been rough lately, but it's still fine, and you're getting a lot.
I mean, he had 15 for 102 yards last week and then 5 targets. It's not like it's
low for CMC. It's pretty good for literally anyone else. It's tailor-made 10-team 2-quarterback PPR start 10. Hurts a late 23 first, a late 24 first, or Dak Prescott, Akers, Dotson, and an early 23 second. I think I just took the Hurts that way with the first.
Yeah, Hurts in the first. I'd take.
I don't even understand that trade.
No, I wasn't even going to get into how I don't know if you sent it or they're sending
Hurts
it you.
in 2 firsts. Yeah, take that.
Yeah.
Someone has something backwards, and as long as you're getting the Hurts side, we're good with it. Let them do them. Stickman 87, 10-team Superflex, start 9, half-point PPR, 6-point passing touchdown, like that other guy likes. Give DJ Moore on a 24 first. Get T. Higgins and Jimmy G. Matt Ryan is currently his backup. And I have 2 24 firsts. Cool. So it's DJ Moore for Higgins, but you have to add a first, really. I mean, you get a starting quarterback this year,
but 10-team league, Jimmy G, are you starting him? I don't know if he's up there for that 10-team league. I'll take
that's why I was kind of it's there, but I'm not. It doesn't. I'm not leaning on it because it's super flex. It's fine. And in that,
but I would rather have Higgins than DJ Moore.
That's what I'm saying. Higgins, yeah.
I think that's the Stickman, the thing that you said at the end where you said you have 224 first, that doesn't matter. Like what you have doesn't change the value of the trade. Like what your team looks like and that doesn't change the value of the players in the trade. So like
I think
I understand you're giving us more information, but don't let that like affect. Don't devalue your 24 first because you have 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. I think Higgins is worth DJ Moore on the 24 first, mainly because of partly what Cal was saying earlier. There's cachet with Higgins. When he does good, his value disproportionately gets hyped. And DJ Moore is just good. He's just a good player. I think people are starting to accept it. So I'll probably take that. Yeah.
He got 6 targets, just like Shy Smith this week.
I mean, Tyler Boyd can catch a touchdown or 2 still, I mean, Chad Booth, 45 people in here. Press that like button. I'd appreciate that, Chad. Thanks very much. We are the worst at hyping ourselves. It's true. Lane 3Y, competing 10-man Superflex. Thinking of sending Najee in a second for Breece Hall and Brandon Cooks. Ooh, Brandon Cooks makes that interesting. His opportunity so far has been been nice. It's been really nice. It's like cheap CD volume. Like discount CD Lamb. No one going with that? Okay.
All over Najee and Cooks over a second for me, so I'll take it.
Would you really go all over Najee? That's oh wow. Do you just like the player?
Foot, man. I'm just worried about the foot, honestly. Like I just am not worried about the foot and the offense and the role and the weapons there and all that stuff. I just feel like it's a little bit cleaner for Breece, and Najee's older than people think, and I think this offseason they're going to realize it. And I would just rather have Breece Hall.
I think I prefer Najee, but it's close enough that Brandon Cooks is the difference maker for me, and I take him. But yeah,
so we're all on the Breece Hall Cooks side. This is, and now that he's injured, is probably not the best time to do it. But that second season or that third season, when a running back hits, that's when I know everybody wants to keep riding the running backs and keep going, but like that's when I flip them for the young wide receivers that are proven. Like that's how I build. Is I'll draft running backs, I'll play them for a season or 2, and then they still have the value where I can go trade them for the young ascending wide receivers that Waddle last year. Like that's what I'm trying to do with running backs.
It's a good idea.
So,
yeah, you're right. Where
but
he's
this
injured,
works
it's
is you
even easier.
you get another young top 5 or 6 running back, plus you get the Brandon Cooks points. Like that's nice.
Gavin is here for the overreactions. Those I got covered. Everyone else has got the takes. I just overreact to shit. Gave Calvin Ridley.
Perfect.
And Cleo Herbert. Got Josh Jacobs. Solid. Yeah, I like that. I'm a contender this year. Yeah, Josh Jacobs is the side I want there too. Especially because you're trying to win.
Yeah.
Is that Cal Ripken? I coach youth baseball too. That's cool, man. Yeah, Cal's pretty cool, dude.
Good job, Samson.
Jacob Peterson, Mooney's on waivers at 12 team. It's a redraft. That's not quite as good. Yeah. I mean, it's another, if the usage changes drastically, Mooney's upside's there. He's a good player.
I don't know if I was putting a lot of fab on it. I don't know.
That's the thing. Projecting that volume change is rough, man.
Jacob, I would have to look at your bench to even decide whether that's
the other thing. Like if Russell Gage is on your bench, you're dropping him for Mooney. If Scotty Miller is on your bench, if Noah Brown, I'm even tempted because I'm not sure I start Noah Brown every week, whereas Mooney could become one of those guys because he's. But yeah, it's 2-4. Samson Simpson. Still a cool name. Things got spicy last night over ETN, and I love to see it.
I'm a fan the week before.
I found hearing both sides, people's arguments over players. It helps me come to my own conclusion. Yeah, I just like hearing arguments. I love Discord. I like it when people are angry at each other. But that's a more positive reason to like it.
Protect the opposing view at all costs, because that's how you either strengthen your own or reframe yourself to see something you weren't seeing before.
I love the way Adam Harstead puts it. He spends an inordinate amount of time trying to debunk his own beliefs. And I like that.
That's the way I approach. Yeah, it's the way to approach everything. Assume you're wrong and try and prove it. It's actually anyway, I picked that up. It's a way you try and investigate math problems. A-levels math is as far as I got. But the idea was start a hypothesis and try and prove it wrong. And I've just been doing that ever since with everything. I'm insufferable. Costi, just traded my 23 first and Bell for Kittle. Is Kittle just imaginary? Sometimes I think Kittle's imaginary.
He might be.
I think there are better things to trade your first for. That's the only. Like, I don't mind getting Kittle, but I think there are better things to trade your first for. But it's fine. I mean, you like Kittle? You're all in on the imaginary tight end train? That's cool.
2-point tight end premium, though, is. I mean, Kittle's one of the few guys that affects. Like when I'm in a tight end premium that's 175 or better, and Russ, like I'm in a couple of leagues that Russ commissioned, so it's 175. Like my tight end core is two of Kittle, Andrews, Kelsey. Like that's what I do is I'll draft 2 of those guys, and they'll either be my quarterback, like my second quarterback, whatever, or they'll be my wide receiver one. That flex is going to score a ton. It
depends on the league. It's very league dependent, but I try to use a tight end position like you were suggesting. We could use the quarterback position in one QB because it's become such a accepted value to draft them later. Those top 5 can have a difference. And so my tight ends core is either nothing or it's stocked. It depends on the league which way it goes. Yep. It's an underrated value or it's not, but when it is, I definitely pummel it. Yeah. Samson Simpson, that's how I feel. Superflex just gives value to garbage quarterbacks instead. Yeah, but I like it. I like I like someone having to, suffer Drew Lock, That's what you get. It's what you get. James, what do you think of giving up Cordero Patterson and CeeDee Lamb for Joe Mixon? Oh, I mean, no, it's too much for me. I think Patterson's going to keep this up. CeeDee Lamb has upside. I mean, it's not bad. You're not going to be feeling bad to roster Joe Mixon this year, but I think I've got a better advantage with the 2 versus that 1.
Yeah, I'm not giving up CD Lamb plus to get Joe Mixon.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there you go. Especially in Dynasty. Just throw that out there. If Sunday God production dips, he becomes Gabe Davis. Sun God. Okay, right. I'm on the same page. Got it. Sunday God. Good point.
No, this is not a good no.
This is sorry. I had to back up myself there. That's a terrible comparison.
You are just taking like Twitter narratives and like making your own. And no, don't do that.
What Amon-Ra St. Brown has produced in his last 10 games will take Gabe Davis 10 years.
Yes.
Or and to be clear on this, he was exceptionally good in college. He was exceptionally good in his rookie season, and he's being exceptionally good in his sophomore season. The fact that you may not have heard about all of that, it's impossible to say this without saying somehow I know, but like anyone, if you're following people for college or analysis that never mentioned that Amon-Ra St. Brown was an above-average prospect at every level, like I got great follows for you. And again, Travis May could have told you that. So could Zach, so could Cal up here. Like, we already knew he was lower drafted than he should have been. This is not unexpected. We knew all off season. I thought he had a top 24 season, or it would have been much like I thought that was the ceiling because he's more of a volume player. So I was wrong, but I knew it wasn't fake. I knew not to believe he was just a 1 year lower drafted one. Like, this is expected. If that seems strange to you, then you've been sold a narrative at some point. And not that it didn't lead to good places other times, but someone should have mentioned that.
And we talked about him last year at the end of the season being that his value came up so high and so fast that you're looking at it and you're going, okay, well, this is going to, like, people are going to be afraid of the draft. People are going to be afraid that he can't continue this. People are going to be afraid because he's a slot receiver. And that's a dirty word in fantasy football, and I don't understand why. I like the guys who drive volume, but we talked about how his value, his cost was going to come down in the offseason, and that was going to be the time to buy, and it did. And if you did, he's outproducing what we thought he would, but we also thought he was going to be a very good wide receiver.
And to be clear, why this is such a bad juxtaposition is Gabe Davis is also who we thought he was. Like, I know there are a lot of people that get paid money to do this shit who are telling you right now how right they were. Unless they said he was a 14 to 16% target share guy who needs to catch touchdowns to have a boom week, then they were not right. Like, this isn't even, we got it right. It's just like, that's what happened. I get everyone has to, explain justify their place in the Twitter sphere or whatnot, but they're selling you bullshit if you think those two are comparable. Like, unfollow. Sorry. I mean, I don't get that. I don't get people trying to sell themselves instead of just honestly help. It drives me nuts. Amon-Ra can come down like 10 targets a game. It's a little fucking much, but he's a good player. Lincoln was here. Is Amon-Ra worth a 3rd round pick? Yeah, I'm assuming startup.
This is, startup. Yeah, if you read down, this is a startup.
And we're talking Dynasty startup. Yes, but no, because it's
I think
Dynasty,
it's more fourth because you got some other young wide receivers who don't have the. Look, Adam Thielen. What?
Can that be seen? This is who's available in that league. I had him send me that DM. This is who's available right now.
I need to make that.
This is like the question you're on is who he's.
I can't.
No, it's too small. Okay.
Well, it might not be too small for the viewers. It's where we've got it zoomed out so we can see everything. Okay, so Najee Harris, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Russell Wilson, Trey Lance, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Deebo Samuel, and Devontae Adams. What was the question again?
This was redraft, right?
This is Superflex Dynasty Startup.
Oh, Superflex Dynasty
So
startup.
straight up, who do you take?
Mhm.
Debo,
Yeah.
then CD Lamb, but it's Debo. Yeah.
Yep.
That's me. You don't have to make the pick I would make. To be clear, after that rant about just so I gotten plenty of shit wrong, but I think I take 25, 24, 25. And I only care about that what my league mates will think, because I don't think it affects his production too much yet. So yeah, I would take Debo over CD Lamb. Both are getting the volume though. I mean, it's pretty close for me, but it's between those two. Yeah. Thanks. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown worth a third round pick?
I think you answered that already. You
that's
said
what we're
probably
on,
a
yeah.
fourth, but yeah.
But based on who
Well,
was
we
available,
boosted
yes.
Brandon Ayuk up into the 4th last year, and he had
Which is
quite
wild.
done this year.
We
I think
did
it's
not, Peter. Don't you
Yeah,
put
I
that
know.
on me.
Yeah, I know, but I still thought it was. I still said at the time it's a reasonable ADP. I'm just not doing it because there are other players I'd rather take. Like we were just doing with that start sit pick there. Right? You make choices, but you can understand why someone would draft it because it was an amazing rookie season that usually bleeds over. But we just happened to know Debo was still a thing. I don't think it's crazy, but it's a little high. There's probably someone else I'd rather take there. Like, this is what we were talking about last week when I turned down a trade-off with someone asked about Amon-Ra's value, and I didn't. And Russ had to explain to me how in some people are. Like, I don't think he's Calvin Johnson. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I think he's great. I love him because he's lower drafted, but he's in a tier of players, and some of them have less concerns. Just because of the draft capital. And again, we said it. I think I said it. Everyone's just staring at me like I should move on. So I guess.
Well, no, but like, at what point does draft capital not matter? Like, once you start producing like St. Brown, draft capital stops mattering. Like, it just does.
It does to an extent. It does when you're Diggs. It did for a while, at least when you're Thielen. But I also remember Tyrell Williams, who definitely showed out. Cameron Meredith, who showed out. They got injured, and teams just go, because you're in.
Show out like this though. Like
no.
Like you're doing the UDFA thing, and like I get it. But they didn't show out like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who just had like a historic run of 10 weeks.
No.
Like
correct.
Detroit won.
Yes, it is.
Like
I'm just saying teams can. I'm not saying I'm buying into it. I'm just saying if you're on a tier of players and they're all Amon-Ra St. Brown production, and all you've got is teams hate draft capital on the lower draft capital players, and I'll use it because teams really do hate lower drafted players. I've got lag again.
And I'm not just staring at you. Like, honestly, like I like preach. I don't feel like I feel like far too few people look at it closely enough to be able to come to the succinct conclusion you just made. And I hope everybody hears that, because that is exactly right on Amon-Ra.
Well, people want to use it like a club, and it's a little tiny little thing. Draft capital has an effect. When you're Amon-Ra St. Brown, you don't want to lower below CD Lamb, but in that, yeah. Sorry, I'm not going back. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Lincoln, yes, but no, because it's Dynasty and he's young. They feel like it's a joke to take him in the 3rd round, which is interesting. I don't think it's a little high, but I also can see people doing it. Like, he's good, guys.
There are players that I would rather have there, but there aren't as many as what people think.
Yes, that's a good bet. That's a better way of saying it. Could have saved us 10 minutes. Thanks, Zach. 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR. Dobbins, Mike Williams, 24 second for Javonte Williams and Pickens. Williams.
Yeah, Williams and Pickens.
Yeah. Yep.
Like easy runaway kind of thing. Yep. 3rd round start. Yes, that's what he's talking about. Iron Og M. Hello. If you need real free health quality to increase your viewers, no, I'm good. I like my viewers. Thank you, though. Dr. Squanch, ETN for Jamal Williams and a third. That's too low. I like getting Jamal Williams. I don't like getting a third.
Yeah,
that's too low.
I've got offers out on Marcus Brown and Jamal Williams in most of my leagues right now. I've been sending that Jamal Williams offer for a while, so I don't know I'll get him this week, but most weeks I make an offer on Jamal Williams somewhere. Higgins early third for Godwin, late first. 12-team Superflex Dynasty. Higgins and nothing for Godwin and a late first. I mean, it's fair.
It's pretty even.
I'd probably just take...
Man, I probably end up on the Godwin side, but it's close.
That's where I was going to go, yeah.
It's close.
This is the thing with age. That Higgins is young is great, but it's mostly because the people in my leagues will value it a little bit more. I think I get 2 years out of both of them, and so the first is the difference for me.
Yeah.
It does make an effect that Godwin's not going to be playing for a while. So it might be situation dependent, but I think I just take the first as a fairly decent insurance between players I expect good things. I would say Goodman has a higher ceiling than Higgins. So yeah, the first is more than enough to account for that.
I know we did this. I know we did this last week or 2 weeks ago, but
yeah, you're the one who reminded me how good.
Yeah, Godwin's been a top 5 or 6 wide receiver. Like he did that. Mm-hmm. Might have even been higher than that. I can't remember. Cup was a top 5 before he got in the top. Became the one.
I literally just read on Twitter again that Cup was nothing until Matthew Stafford. So we're big fans of revisionist history. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
It's just we'll revise it. Whatever. But Kossi, 12-team 1.5 point tight end premium superflex, Kittle or 23 first and Dubs.
Kittle. I want Kittle. It's a 24 first. I want Kittle. It's that half point premium
with the
a tight end who sees a bunch of targets.
Do you think? Again, I wonder if Kittle's the best thing I'd trade for, but actually, for a 24 first, I think that's probably one of the better things you could get. Drop a like, thanks. Hi everyone, it's Joe. Look, it's Joe.
Joe.
Struggling today, Joe. In one league, my only quarterback is Flacco. Tank time. No, if you got Flacco, aren't you winning? He's stopping my tanking in a few places.
Who's Antonia? This is Joe. Who's Antonia? What is this?
Well, I don't ask questions. Gavin, Pete reminds me of Bo Burnham's Inside, and that makes me happy. I appreciate that. If I remind you of something that makes you happy, I appreciate that. Samson Simpson, blow it up, Joe. Second best part of the dynasty outside of actually winning. I hate rebuilding, but I do love blowing things up, so I take it. Not like in a literal sense. I'm not a big fan of loud noises, but yeah. Antonio Gibson. I love how Zach was like a dad.
I am exactly like a dad. I practice every day.
That's fair. Got offered Lamb for Higgins. Thoughts? I mean, I thought Lamb had lost value, but I prefer Lamb over Higgins.
Yeah, but and again, that's one of those like I really struggle with making 1-for-1
same position trade.
You're betting
someone's gonna lose. I hate it, but if you like in a draft, I take Lamb before I take Higgins. So
Yep.
PPR, Chubb or a 23 first and Ceedee and a third.
I take the 23. I traded Chubb for a 23 first already going into this season. So
me too.
Chubb's so good.
Mm-hmm. He is good.
He is so good. Oh man,
he's amazing. And it has nothing to do with Nick Chubb and everything to do with where my team is. Like if I have a competitive team, I'll send my first and go get Nick Chubb. That's fine.
But can I say this? If he falls down instead of scoring that last touchdown, his team wins the game.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I know
that's why he's so good. But Chubb cares about you, Cal.
I know.
He cares about you, not his team. Would you just send that back to him? All right.
There's nothing else in sports like that where you try to not score to win. It's just there's nothing else like that. It's
well,
so
I mean, I guess in basketball you have that every now and then where you can do that. Where like if you do the, but yeah, same like I saw the most. Sorry, my brain just jumped. But I saw the most disingenuous, worst victory lap ever after Nick Chubb goes for 3 touchdowns and someone's like, I thought Nick Chubb can't be a league winner and he can't be a running back one. I was like, well, yeah, he scored 3 touchdowns this week and is neck and neck with Saquon. Like as running back
and
one.
We've also been ranking him in top 12 for a while, for a minute. People knew. It's like being out there saying, I thought Justin Jefferson couldn't be a league winner. It's like, who hurt you? Bob Gilchrist, I know that guy, but he's on YouTube this time, not Twitter. He's trying to throw us off.
Yes, he'll be on Twitch.
Next. I almost texted Calvin this weekend, but I had a feeling he was going to text me, so I held off. Yes, he was. Carl's, where does a random 23? Hey, we did that one. We actually got ahead of this. We actually decided that Wilson, London, maybe Breece Hall are the only ones worth more than a random 23 first. Gibson, how hard should I try for Robinson?
I think that was greatly overblown.
I think try to trade both.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're concerned about it, yeah, that's what I would do. Who'd you be targeting with Gibson, I guess?
Gosh, almost anything. I feel like look, Gibson, I know, but it scares me. I'll just try to find another way to win. Like, it scares me, all the reports. It scares me what they were talking about. I genuinely feel like Ron Rivera doesn't like him and was forced into a situation where he's got to play him a little bit more here. And as good as Carson Wentz is playing, do they go back to running a lot more? Do they just hand the ball more to Curtis Samuel? I just wouldn't expect a lot of volume.
I think Gibson's volume keeps up. I don't have the insight into teams like you do, but I
just guess.
I think he's probably going to keep it up. But the reason I'm asking the question is I will gladly fade for a reasonable argument, but I don't know what you can get for Gibson that has the same effect this year. So you're looking at value, and I don't think he's worth a first in trade. So I'm pretty much holding on Gibson, but I get the concern. Lincoln, I sent the DMs and yep, well, we got it. Appreciate it.
We got you. Yep.
There you go. DLF comes in and helps you. I see that. They're never in the chat when you're not here. Bob Gilchrist asking for a friend who's really down on Tua. Should he wait before he publicly apologizes? Yeah, at least one more week, man.
I would say if you give it a week, you may not have to apologize as much. But
I don't know. I feel hot. I get last week was insane, but like, how does he not do well with these 2 wide receivers? And it seems to be clicking pretty well. He won't be 6 passing touchdowns and 300 yards from 2 guys next week. I mean, he should do pretty well this year. But yeah, at least give yourself another week.
It's so weird that the recipe for kind of making young quarterbacks better is to give them good wide receivers to catch the ball. It's weird. It's weird.
I need Jacob Rickroad in the chat. I need him to explain why the good quarterback went to a new team and didn't create top 12 wide receivers, but the 2 top 12 wide receivers with a unproven quarterback are still in the top 12. It's weird. It's weird. It's like they matter. It's weird. It's weird, Jacob.
I mean, you're gonna have to. Yeah, you may want to back that one down just a yet, but
hang on, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I'm sorry. No. Antonio Gibson, real trades. Would you rather Antonio Gibson in a second or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Gibson
in the second. Yeah.
Gibson or Devonta Smith?
Depends on my team. Probably Smith.
Yeah,
but
if I need points, yeah.
No, if I need points, I'm taking Gibson. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Gibson and Cordero Patterson for a first-round pick in 2023.
Yeah, do that.
Those are all real trades. I just think there might be some value out there to trade him.
Thank you. And it really is a useful thing. And I think Addison put that one up there on DLF, the trade finder, so you can see what's actually going down instead of the hypotheticals we always come up with there. I like it. Buccaneers, don't worry, you guys. I mean, relatively, no. Brady looks like last year, Big Ben. See, that's what I wouldn't know. Goodman re-injuring. I mean,
re-injuring is a little bit of a yes,
Lenny over the age cliff. Yeah. He's producing, but he's over the age cliff, so it can't be happening. Like I don't think this way. If you're talking about winning the Super Bowl, it's also not what I'm into. I'm into fantasy points, and I think relative to what they're doing, their cost in Dynasty was decent, and they have been proven to, so they were pretty easy to find. So no, I'm pretty happy with what they're putting up. I'm just a fantasy player, man. I don't know for all this highfalutin NFL stuff. I honestly don't. I enjoy it, but I'm not an NFL analyst. Don't even try to be. Joe, names, Peter.
No, names, Peter.
Oh, the analyst. Who are the analysts you were calling out? That's what she wants to know.
I was calling someone out. Oh no, it's just if I had someone to call out, I don't get me wrong, but yeah, I see a lot of 1 week. Well, Zach just talked about one with Chubb, like the weird victory laps. If Gabe Davis hit his ceiling week 1, I admit that I'm already wrong because the value swung, but I'll admit I'm wrong. I won't be like, see, I told you he wouldn't be good, because I never said that for a start, and also because it paid off, man. I got it wrong. But if the argument this offseason was could he get a weekly starters levels targets, and through 1 week and then he got injured, immensely talented, productive offense is going to do that more often than is going to be comfortable for someone who didn't buy in. But he's not going to get 20 expected. He's not going to get a 20% target share. And they shift the goalposts every time, and that's not fine by me. I was going to say that's fine. It's not fine by me. I don't mind if you go over or under the bar, but fucking don't move the bar or I don't like you. Like what are we doing? It's fictional football. It's fantasy football. You can't even hold yourself to that moderate standard of whether you were right or wrong. Write it down and then come back. And if it was wrong, just, I was wrong. We all get shit wrong. Just why is that so hard to admit? Like, you can't even get better if you don't know when you're wrong. That's all I do is stress over what I'm getting wrong.
Why do you keep saying John Kelly?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. But yeah, there's no one in particular. If I when I see it, I say it. Like I'm not talking behind closed doors here. If I see it on Twitter, I'll say it on Twitter.
I think it's perfectly reasonable. If you say that you should sell somebody, you're saying they're never going to have a good week ever again. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah. Exactly. Did I skip one?
Oh, no, Curtis said his league was redraft. We still would take CeeDee Lamb over Higgins.
Samson Simpson, I was just busting your balls, guys, with my Gabe Davis love. Yeah, but it gave me a fun chance to rant, Samson. Don't ruin the illusion here. Like, we like to believe that someone would know. You're good. Nicholas, welcome back. In redraft, would you trade away Joe Flacco for Mooney? Tough. Probably actually in a super flex. I mean, that's not a bad, only good now asset. So you're not trading away draft capital. You're not getting rid of players that are more useful in the future as well. You have Brady and Mac already. So
you have the right idea. You might be able to get somebody better than Mooney.
Really?
I agree. Right idea. I don't know if it's the right target, but yes.
You guys kind of out on Mooney. Like I'm fearful. Don't get me wrong, but
not necessarily out on Mooney. But if you can get somebody who like you think is or is producing, this is redraft, Peter, not Dynasty. So give me the points now, because who knows what? It's the old make hay while the sun shines.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrell Williams was a poor man's Mike Williams. Yeah, it's actually kind of fair. And he did get a job after that, and he was employed by it. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't care about fantasy. I really thought he did pretty well those first few years. I'm 0-2 in both Dynasty leagues. I mean, give yourself the extra week is basically what we're saying here. But If I'm 0-2 and I go look at my win percentage and I'm below 50% all play, yeah, I'm out. If I didn't know to start, I'm already switching.
Yeah, it's all play record, and it's the points that you scored versus the points that the other teams have scored. If you're you can have hollow victories, but you can also have you can be 0-2 and be the bull of the woods. You if you finished with the second highest score 2 weeks in a row, but played the team that scored the most, you're not tanking.
Ira wants to know who should he target if he's trying to trade people away. Basically, he's trying to trade Mike Williams specifically, but I think the question works more broadly. Like, who are you targeting? Who might overproduce? And I actually just put out a thread, and I'm writing that up for DLF every week. And I listed 4, and I can't remember them. I'm not allowed to open my spreadsheet because the stream crashes. Cortland Sutton was on the list, I think. CeeDee Lamb was on the list. I think Debo's too high. I can't remember the other 2. Shit, I'm not like baiting you into reading the article or the Twitter thread. Like, I literally can't remember who else was on there. I mean, Marcus Brown's, he's not one of the 4, but I thought he was interested, and I'm sending trade offers this week on Marcus Brown.
Christian Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
Christian Kirk's not bad, yeah. Brandon Cooks. He was one of the ones. He's getting like mega volume, valuable. Like, he should be scoring 20 points a week. Again, it's week 2 that can go up and down, but I'm willing to bet that he has a lot higher upside than most people are willing to think right now.
How far are we off between Mike Williams and Allen Robinson?
I'm really
again, I don't know, but
I don't know about Allen Robinson yet, so pretty distinct. I'm in on Cooks, and I don't know on Robinson yet. Last week was more positive for him.
The trade finder's a little rough for Mike Williams. There's not a lot of really good ones there. What about Devonta
polarizing.
Smith? Devonta Smith? You think there's a trade to be pulled off there for him?
Maybe. I like it. Again, I like him in Dynasty, but Mike Williams is that weird player that I like. I don't like his archetype. I don't like that type of player, but I love having him as like my wide receiver 3 because he can go for 30 points any week.
Yeah. I think those 4 wide receivers are the first off the top of my mind. I would rather have Cooks and Williams for this season, and honestly, their future value is about the same. Sutton as well. Those are the 2 that jump off from my memory of those 4 guys. And Nicholas and Omen 2 and tanking. Good job, Joe. Chase and Mike Williams trade. Who should I target? Chase Edmonds, gotta be. And my same answers. Joe's 2-0 or 0-2, depending on which one you read. Above grief. Evening, fellas. Need to tear one of my teams down. What are you moving Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, Carson Wentz for? Whatever I can get if I'm tearing it down. Aaron Rodgers is rough right now. Yeah. But if you're tearing it down, that's where you're at. You don't have to trade this week, obviously, but you're probably not going to get first-round value for any of those guys by the end of the season.
No, but these are the players where you start packaging them with things because they don't look great as a centerpiece. But if you package, you can get something in return that you want.
If it's a super flex, I don't think Gavin's wrong. Lawrence is still a pretty good target. And while the season's here, he was held to a weirdly high value for literally no one liking him this offseason. But I think in season that might be a little softer. I was saying Mac Jones, but I'm really disappointed with this year. So I think Lawrence is, assuming it's super flex since you're rostering 2 quarterbacks, like he's the younger quarterback. I'd try to package something and with one of those quarterbacks and get.
Justin Fields, maybe? I don't know. People seem to be down on him. I
am. I mean,
I would try to look at these guys. So I think you're trying to buy low on somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know yet with Justin Fields, and so I just fade it until I see it. Lawrence, the only reason I'm holding Lawrence is because he was such a, again, people who do prospects said Lawrence was a really solid prospect, and he's doing pretty well in a terrible situation, and he's doing okay this year. There's not a lot of, I bet he can. Right now, he's kind of doing something decent. I don't mind that.
Mm-hmm. So a player that I would be targeting in a situation like this when we're tearing it down is Jameson Williams, because you haven't seen him yet. His value is a little bit depressed, but as soon as he comes back, there's going to be some hype because he was a first-round pick, because everybody loved him at Alabama. Like there's going to be a lot more value. It's kind of like looking in the future, like what we do with ETN and that value. And as soon as you see that first hype video, as soon as you see him running routes, that is going to come back. So he is a player. That's what I'm looking for above Grief at this point, is guys who I know are going to gain value. So either you have them on your team and you keep them, but more likely you have them and you can trade them for more than what you spend to acquire them.
2 quick questions. Does that also apply to Pickens, where he hasn't been able to go?
Yeah, I think so. I think Pickens will go
and
up.
Also, something I keep thinking about is, why are we not saying trade for David? We're all about it this offseason.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him play a lot, but David Bell's still a trade target for you, right? I haven't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still think he has weeks yet to do something before we get disappointed. So I just wanted to mention or throw him out so it didn't sound like we were just avoiding him. Like, so far it's looking rough, but I think in the long run I still think it pays off. And I don't want to forget how much I was trying to get Trey McBride. Some of those people who turned me down for some of those officers might be willing to take them now. So again, similar trade targets, and I'm trying to target the ones their value might not have escalated on. And I give rookies, at least 6 weeks, 8 weeks for a tight end, maybe, to do something to suggest that they're earning a role. Which is why I still have Treylon Burks as my wide receiver 1 in this class, even though he's not worth more than a 23 first, and the other 2 are. So he's a decent trade target for me too if I'm building. But it's always delicate to build with your own prospect evaluation, because you're paying for your own hopes, basically. So normally I lean draft picks if it's a pure blow-up. That's the things I can say. What's up, homies? Love the show. Hey, Cal. Thanks, Open 24 Hours. Appreciate that. He's never said that to you or here, Cal. So, don't get it twisted. That's all about you. Sean Murphy, rebuilding Superflex tight end premium. Gave Goddard 23 first and second, presumably late. 4 Pitts, Goddard and a first. Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, the second's not nothing for Pitts. I mean, that's about. You're right. That's solid. Yeah.
Yep, I think that's a win for Pitts.
But. If you have Pitts, would you take that for him right now?
No.
Or is that right on the line, or is that strongly or on Pitts? See, this is where I'm like, I don't want to be the last man in, and it's looking rough. Like, I'm the guy, like, you all three say yes, and you're all smart, and then it doesn't get better, and you're like, well, I traded him last week for Andrews and a first. Why didn't you just do it? Like, I will be the one who doesn't. No. So I, like, Goddard's good. He's been a top 5 tight end. I'm getting a first. I'm a second chaser. Like, risks managed there. So
again, you got to me, you're playing for that upside, and I think that there are still enough people in on Pitts. I don't think that people have given up on Pitts. That you still have that fungibility of being able to go trade Pitts if you want to. Goddard doesn't give you the positional advantage, even the potential of positional advantage that Pitts does. And so, like, Goddard is kind of a shrug to me, because any tight end that's from, we talk about this all the time, but like from tight end 5 or 6 to tight end 15 is a shrug. Like, whatever. If I don't have one of the guys that's giving me a positional advantage, I don't care. But I know Pitts still has that value. I think that if Pitts has a good week, you can turn around and trade him for way more than that, because everyone will be like, see, it was just a blip. Everything's fine.
I wonder when the trade offer itself becomes a pin on the map that can't be changed. Like, if he's trading for this now, 1 good week of Pitts in this league, may not escalate it that far because this league is already lowering.
maybe
you know
not.
what I mean? But anyway,
But then you have a good tight
in
end.
a vacuum.
I mean,
my team, I'm tempted.
If he plays well and his value doesn't go up, you have a tight end playing well. Like to me, there's not really a situation where you.
Yeah, Zach, you know these 23 rookies a little bit better, I think, than I do. Maybe it's a bit like I just looked up if it's a late 23 first. I just looked up. This is ridiculous. It's a mock draft for rookies, but it's all we have right now. Like Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. Could be Goddard and Sean Tucker running back at a Syracuse,
right.
And then a second. You'd very clearly prefer to have Pitts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the 23 class is good, but right now it is a trade chip or a dream. And so if I can get a player that I think is good, and I liken Pitts to that 23 class because. Right now, it doesn't even matter if Pitts is good. He's still got that value. People are still dreaming on him, and they'll continue to this season. We do that. We hang on to our priors so long, and the year after.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to invite John and Bob to play in all of my leagues, and
that's a good plan.
I won't have to be worried about it anymore. I'll be like, there'll be always someone to sell Pitts to.
Evan Ingram was tight end 3 the year after his rookie year, and just like held that until he bombed like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Pitts, everyone has been telling me what a better prospect Pitts is than Ingram, what a better prospect he was than Fant, and so I'm not sure I buy all that, but it's
that's the
great.
thing.
Like he's good, and the community has got it in there, the collective consciousness that he is, a top 3 tight end or the top tight end, and so you've got a little bit of insulation there.
At some point, it's in your head that is existing when you make a trade, though. Like in your head, you're saying he's worth. I know it's fun to say because I can trade it for that, but if in your league this is what he brings, I'm concerned that it's only in your head the community has that value. And I know, but you're right. You're right.
I mean, you're trading for a tight end who came off a 1,000-yard season on 65 catches and had
exactly.
1 touchdown. Like.
He did have a pretty good rookie season.
Yeah. Play Seattle this week.
The get right game.
X Factor. Lincoln was here. I received. This is a startup pick again. It's like for some reason it's like a strong gear shift to try and start thinking about startups. He received the 209 and 805. Gave away the 309 and the 404. That would be.
Too much.
Giving out way too much. Yeah, that 4 is too high, right? That's for one. Yeah, that's too much to just jump 1 round there.
Yep.
3rd and 4th round, they're pretty good players. It's really 6 to 8 range. People start dreaming, And occasionally in the 4th round, but that you get a lot of hope after that point. So,
and if this is a dynasty startup, which I assume that's what we're doing, it's that same dynasty startup. This year, that late 3rd, early 4th is where I'm starting to. I want to have multiple picks in that range because that's where I'm starting to put it in my 23 firsts if they're available in this draft. Like that's what I want to do.
We are getting to the end of it, by the way, guys. Sorry, I know I'm keeping you late, but there's not much left. Let me just skip through here. Joe says Gibson's getting targets because she's a GOAT. And she knows. 24 hours says Cole Beasley.
It was J.D. McKissick with 7 last week. Like
Cole Beasley.
That might be his role.
Yes. Any hope for Cole Beasley or Marlon Mack? Cole Beasley, I guess. Yeah, a little bit. And he might be startable like Scott Miller was last week.
Are you saying Tom Brady has a type? Sorry, you were Marlon Macking.
Nick D. David says I traded away Eckler for Joe Mixon. What do you think? Yeah, that's fine. Actually, yeah, it's good.
Sure.
Like for like,
Gelato. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
MVS podcast. Kareem Hunt and a 24 first for CD Lamb.
Lamb
Golden.
side.
That's the side. That's the way you get Lamb.
But that's a good trade. That's a good trade for both teams, I think. I mean, you get points with Hunt, you give up points with Lamb, and you get a 24 first. Like I like it.
I don't know why it
want the
bothers
Lamb
me that
side.
you said MVS podcast, but it kind of bothers me.
Sorry.
MVZ.
I'm not literate, Cal. I'm guessing at these words, okay? You're just lucky that some of them are accurate. Okay?
The Marquez Valdez.
You know how hard it is
podcast.
to guess people's questions over and over again and get it this close? Jesus, no appreciation. Samson Simpson. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Appreciate the content.
Good night,
it, man.
Samson.
Thanks very much. Thanks to everyone. Seriously. Who you guys so high right now? I'm not allowed to open it up.
I mean, I feel like it's Gabe Davis that we talked about it earlier. I mean, I guess that's
yeah.
if you can. Gosh,
Let's see. Finished in the top 24 last week at wide receiver, but definitely are overproducing. Oh, this is week 1. Forget it. Fuck that.
I mean,
Sorry.
Mike Williams coming off his 10 targets without Keenan Allen in the lineup.
Mike Williams, Nelson Aguilar, Curtis Samuel overproduced a little bit, but I'll take him off the list because overall his volume looks good. Noah Brown. Rashad Bateman's actually overproducing. I don't think there's any reason not to like him in Dynasty, is the way I've written it up, but he can't keep doing this to us. But he probably will. He's immensely talented.
He's very good.
Swift and Breece Hall's committees have me worried, but their expected points last week, where it's only 2 weeks in, suggest maybe our hopes and dreams can last one more week.
Cal's waiting politely to say Gibson.
Yeah, no. And Mike Gesicki, but that's the week-to-week stuff.
Michael Thomas.
Ooh, really?
I if you take the fourth quarter out, and I know you can't just do that, but like it's been nothing other than fourth quarter. And James Winston has been so bad. He's just been so bad. Like I know, like if you look at air yards, you're gonna get really excited about Olave.
He throws deep.
If you watch the game, you're like, the ball might as well have been thrown out of the stadium. Like it wasn't close. The target was you just throwing the ball away. You might as well spiked it.
They were more they were more like space yards.
Exactly.
You get it? Oh, I suck. Wide receiver has a really weird top 12 right now. Like the wide receiver position is kind of popping off, and it's a little hard to spot the overproducers because everyone is overproducing significantly. Like Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, and Justin Jefferson are all getting 8 points over expected per game. It's kind of insane right now. But the ones, I think Michael Thomas does look like an overproducer on a lower volume share. Michael Pittman did, but that he's only played 1 week, so it's a little hard to tag him with that. So I don't have clear sellouts, but Michael Thomas does show up a little bit. So I don't hate it.
So Rashad Bateman has 12 targets total right now through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we like Bateman, but we need more than that.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna be the second target on that team because Mark Andrews is the first target. It's just like the running back on that team is the second running back because Lamar Jackson. It's a weird offense, but
I looked like they threw 16 times to the tight end position and 11 to the wide receiver position. Bateman's surviving because he's incredibly talented and he's just taking all of them. He can't keep doing this to us. But in Dynasty, he's incredibly talented and young, and like it's that weird. Don't devalue him, but don't. I still think top 24 is going to be tougher in that offense. It's going to
he's
Marcus
such
Brown
a weird player too. Bateman is such a weird player because you watch him. Yeah, well, so my write up of him, like I compared him to the Mona Lisa because you look at the Mona Lisa the first time you're like, okay, it's a lady sitting there in front of a field smirking, and then you sit there more and you realize like all of the little nuances, and that's like Bateman to me is like you watch Bateman once and you're like, yeah, he caught 16 balls, but like he didn't do anything. And then you watch him again, and you're like, yeah, but he caught another 12 balls. And then you watch him again, and you're like,
how is he doing this to us? That's exactly. Yeah, actually, I'm glad something like that shows up because again, he shouldn't be doing this. He's probably gonna keep doing it. He's weirdly talented.
It was the same thing. It was the same thing at Minnesota. Like you're like, just okay, cool.
Like if I didn't like him, if I didn't like his rookie profile, I would be tilting my ass off right now. But he's kind of doing it in college too. Yeah, Tyler Johnson. He's a wit, but yeah.
He's 27.8 yards per reception right now. That's
point Cal
probably coming back down.
He can't keep up this efficiency, but he's young and good. And it's like that hypothetical I posed last year, which is: would you like the wide receiver getting 8 expected points per game and overproducing it by 8 expected points, meaning he's getting 16 points per game, and the other one was getting 20 expected points and underproducing it slightly? But the 8 and 8 guy is Jamar Chase. Like some players are just good. Like he shouldn't keep it up. But in Dynasty, I'm not going to bet against him not being good. So yeah, you're right. He's all this weird line. Where I've come out is if I can add a first to Bateman and go get another great player, but that's getting volume, then I'll do that. If I can put a first with Bateman and jump up into that Ceedee and Waddle's out of it now. Damn it, Higgins, that was my target. Yeah, Pittman borderline, but
I said Higgins. But yeah, you got Pittman on the brain,
but I was saying as well. I was adding Mon. I was doing you a solid. I was like Pittman. He's getting the volume at least, so he's probably more consistent week over week. He does have a little more upside, but it's where he gets tetchy for me.
Peter's always been a big Michael Pittman guy.
I hate
from way back.
Because I like Bateman better, but I mean, yeah. Anyway, too long. I said I was getting you guys out of here. AJ Dillon on a rebuild or Garrett Wilson? Yes.
Garrett Wilson.
12-team Superflex, Dynasty Superflex. I don't know why I said that twice. Would you trade a late first for Antonio Gibson and Antonio Gibson for Barkley? Yes. Barkley. Yes. All day. Barkley's the one you want. Like, do that. Do that. Should I trade Kirk and Michael Thomas for AJ Brown? Yes.
Like, stop watching right now and go do it. Yes.
Like, I'm sorry we answered this late. If you lost this trade because it was at the bottom, I'm going to be only 6 minutes for you.
Yeah. This was really good. It was only 6 minutes. That's not bad.
Dotson on a 23-second for Jameson.
Yes.
Ooh.
I think Jameson Williams' value will come up higher than whatever Dotson has got right now. I do.
I had Jameson higher as a rookie profile. I like Dotson fine, and he's good. He's fine. But this is basically, it's Jameson. I'm not going to do this 10-minute thing I always end up doing. Yeah, it's Jameson Williams. Jake Anderson does like him though, so I kind of want to go the other way. But
I want Dotson. I don't even feel like Dotson is. I don't feel like we're getting like what Dotson is best at right now yet, and I want more of that. So, and he's still producing. So I
think it's close enough. I probably take the Jameson side, but Cal likes it, and I like going against Jake. So whatever.
I could have a rookie who's producing and a second, or an injured guy. I'll take the.
Yeah, but I think
in a second.
I think when Jameson Williams comes back, and again, not necessarily that I want Jameson Williams for Jameson Williams, but I think I'm getting more than that or a good player. Mm-hmm. So, but
all right,
I can see it.
Peter.
Yep.
Look over there.